At the restaurant, my brother said, "An adopted girl like you doesn't belong here." Everyone laughed. I smiled, then heard, "Wait." My grandfather spoke up. "The fork in my hand weighs nothing, but I can't seem to lift it." If you've ever sat at a table surrounded by people who share your last name but treat you like a stranger, you know the particular heaviness I mean. It's not the cutlery. It's the silence between their laughter. It's the way their eyes slide past you like your furniture. Expensive furniture they inherited and never wanted. I'm 27 years old, and I've been sitting at tables like this for 22 years. The restaurant is called Meridian. It's one of those places in Miami where the menu doesn't list prices, because if you have to ask, you shouldn't be here. Crystal chandeliers scatter light across white tablecloths like fallen stars. The chairs are upholstered in burgundy leather that sighs when you sit. Every surface gleams with the kind of wealth that whispers rather than shouts. My adoptive family loves places that whisper about money. They've never been good at whispering themselves. "More champagne, Damon?" My adoptive mother, Linda, holds the bottle with the casual grace of someone who's been ordering $400 bottles since before I was born. Her diamonds catch the light. Anniversary gift, third marriage to my adoptive father, Joel. She's 53 and looks 45, thanks to the same surgeon who did half the faces in this room. Of course. Damon extends his glass without looking up from his phone. 29 years old, chiseled jaw, hairstyled with product that costs more than my weekly groceries. He's the birthday boy tonight, though boy feels generous for someone who still lives off our parents' accounts. It's my birthday. I deserve the good stuff. I watch the champagne rise in his glass, like liquid gold, and say nothing. Beside me, my adoptive sister Sky adjusts her phone on its little tripod stand. Because of course she brought a tripod to her brother's birthday dinner. She's 25, blonde highlights fresh, lips inflated to Instagram perfect proportions. Her following hit 500,000 last month. Lifestyle influencer. I've never been entirely sure what that means, but apparently it means filming everything. "Can you scoot over a little, Lena?" She doesn't look at me when she asks. "You're in my frame." I scoot. I always scoot. At the head of the table sits my adoptive father, Joel. 61, silver-templed, the kind of handsome that ages like wine if you have enough money to keep it that way. He built his wealth in commercial real estate, or so the story goes. Self-made man. Bootstrap narrative. American dream incarnate. He's studying the wine list like it contains the secrets of the universe. And at the far end, almost forgotten, sits grandfather Elias. Elias Warren, 84 years old. Joel's father. The quiet patriarch of the Warren family, though you'd never know it from how they treat him. He's smaller than he used to be. Age has a way of shrinking us all. But his eyes remain sharp as surgical steel. He watches everything with the patience of a man who's seen enough decades to know that truth always surfaces eventually. He's the only person at this table who's ever made me feel like I belonged. When I was 7, 2 years after the adoption, I asked him why everyone else had blue eyes and I had brown. He'd knelt down, his knees creaking, and said, "Because, Lena, you're the only one who sees the world clearly." I didn't understand then. I'm beginning to understand now. "So, Damon," Joel says, finally setting down the wine list after ordering something French and unpronounceable. 29? 1 year from the big 3-0. How does it feel?" "Feels like I need a yacht." Damon grins, and everyone laughs. everyone except me and Elias. The appetizers arrive. Oysters for the men, salads for the women. Sky is intermittent fasting. Linda is perpetually dieting. I ordered the soup because it was the cheapest thing on the menu. Old habits. They die hard when you've spent your life counting every dollar. Did you see the listing I sent you? Joel asks Damon between oysters. The penthouse in Brickell? 12 million, but the views are worth it. Dad, you know I'm more of a Coconut Grove guy. The properties there don't appreciate as fast, but the lifestyle, Dad, the lifestyle. They talk about real estate like other families talk about weather. Casually, constantly. As if everyone has $12 million to spend on a view. I eat my soup. It tastes like money I don't have. Lena. I look up. Damon is staring at me, champagne glass raised. There's something in his eyes I don't like. A glitter that has nothing to do with celebration. Yes? You've been quiet all night. Don't you want to wish me happy birthday? The table turns to me. 6 pairs of eyes. Even Sky lowers her phone. Happy birthday, Damon. I mean it. I do. Despite everything. He's my brother. The papers say so. 22 years of sharing a last name say so. If nothing else, I mean it for the boy he used to be, before he learned cruelty could be casual. But he's not done. No, I want a real toast. He stands, champagne sloshing. Everyone, raise your glasses. Lena's going to give a speech. My stomach drops. Damon, I don't think... Come on, you're always so quiet, so reserved. He says the word like it's an accusation. Don't you have something to say to your big brother on his birthday? Linda giggles. That nervous laugh she does when Damon is being cruel, but she can't admit it. Damon, darling, let her be. No, Mom, I want to hear it. I want to hear what the adopted girl has to say about being part of this family. The word lands like a slap. Adopted. He's never said it like that before. Not in public. Not with that particular venom. The restaurant seems to hold its breath. A waiter freezes mid-stride. The couple at the next table glances over with practiced discretion. I should say something. I should stand up for myself. 27 years old. And I still don't know how to make my voice matter in this family. Damon. It's Elias. His voice is soft but carries the weight of decades. That's enough. Damon waves his hand dismissively. Grandpa, I'm just having fun. Lena knows I'm kidding. Right, Lena? I nod because it's easier. Because it's what I've always done. Damon sits back down, satisfied with his performance. The table returns to normal, or what passes for normal in this family. Linda starts talking about some charity gala. Joelle signals for more wine. Sky returns to her phone. But I notice Elias watching me. And in his eyes, I see something I haven't seen before. Resolve. The main courses arrive. Wagyu, steaks that cost more than my monthly rent. Lobster flown in from Maine. Everything arranged like art on plates that probably cost more than my car. I ordered the chicken. Again, cheapest thing. So, Lena, Linda says with that voice she uses when she's pretending to be interested. How's the job hunt going? The question cuts. They know how it's going. They know I've been applying to design firms for 8 months, sending portfolio after portfolio into the void. They know I graduated from community college, the only option I could afford, while Damon and Sky went to private universities that cost more per semester than I made in a year. It's going, I say. Have you considered something more practical? Joel chimes in. Administrative work, reception, something that suits your background. Background. Another word that means something else in this family. I'm a graphic designer, Joel. That's what I trained for. Trained at community college, Damon mutters. Not quite under his breath. The table titters. I feel my face flush. What about that waitressing job? Sky asks, not looking up from her phone. Didn't you used to waitress? That was in college, 4 years ago. Still, good to have a backup. I don't respond. What would I say? That I worked 3 jobs through college while they spent their summers in Europe. That I've never once asked them for money, even when my rent was late, even when my car broke down, even when I went 3 days eating nothing but ramen because my paycheck didn't clear. They wouldn't understand. They've never had to. You know, Damon says, swirling his champagne, it's funny. I don't ask what's funny. I've learned that Damon doesn't need prompting. Here we are, celebrating my birthday at one of the best restaurants in Miami. Thousands of dollars for one dinner. And Lena over here is eating chicken. More laughter. Linda at least has the grace to look uncomfortable. I like chicken, I say quietly. You like chicken because it's cheap. Damon's eyes meet mine. Because that's what you are, Lena. Cheap. Everything about you is cheap. Your clothes, your education, your life. You know why. Damon, Joel starts. No, Dad. Let me finish. This is important. Damon stands again, and I realize with dawning horror that he's been building to this all night. The champagne was just fuel. The dinner was just a stage. You know why you're cheap, Lena? Because you don't belong here. The restaurant falls silent. Actually silent. I can hear the ice settling in someone's water glass 3 tables away. An adopted girl like you doesn't belong here. He says it loud. Deliberately loud. Loud enough for the waiter to hear. Loud enough for the couple next table over to gasp. Loud enough for everyone in this crystal chandelier cathedral of wealth to understand exactly what kind of family we are. And then they laugh. Linda laughs first. Nervous, high-pitched. The laugh of a woman who's never once stood up to her children. Joel joins in. A chuckle. Really? The sound of a man who's learned to find cruelty amusing. Sky's laugh is performative, already thinking about how she'll spin this for her followers. Even some strangers nearby let out uncomfortable titters. The kind of laughter that says, I'm not with them, but I'll join in anyway. The only person not laughing is Elias. I stare at my plate. The chicken blurs. Everything blurs. 22 years of slights, of being less than, of working twice as hard and for half the respect. It all concentrates into this single moment, this single phrase. An adopted girl like you doesn't belong here. Sir? I look up. The waiter stands beside me, and in his hand is the bill. The check presenter is leather, embossed with the restaurant's logo in gold. He places it directly in front of me, not in the center of the table, not in front of Joel, who's clearly the patriarch, not in front of Damon, whose birthday we're supposedly celebrating. In front of me. I open it slowly. The numbers swim before my eyes. $2,500. Appetizers, entrees, champagne, wine, desserts, tax, service charge. $2,500 for one meal. Oh my God! Sky laughs, phone already out, recording. They gave the bill to Lena. The audacity! Linda covers her mouth, eyes gleaming with amusement. Damon is howling. Actually howling. This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. Go on, Lena. Pay it. Pay for the dinner you don't belong at. Joel smirks. I think the waiter misread the table. Everyone waits. They're waiting for me to slide the bill toward Joel, to admit I can't afford it, to shrink into the furniture they've always seen me as. But something shifts. Maybe it's the champagne I barely touched. Maybe it's Damon's words still echoing. Maybe it's 22 years of silence finally finding its breaking point. Or maybe it's Elias, who catches my eye and gives me the smallest nod. I reach into my purse, the one I bought at a thrift store for the $12, and pull out my wallet. It's worn leather, cracked at the corners. I open it and remove my credit card. Lena, don't be ridiculous. Joel starts. Let her. Damon grins. Let her try. I hand the card to the waiter. I'll pay. The table erupts in disbelief. Linda's laughter turns nervous. Joel's smirk falters. Sky keeps recording, sensing content gold. The waiter takes my card with a nod. And is it my imagination, or does he understand something they don't? And disappears. You're actually going to pay? Damon can't believe it. With what money? Your waitressing tips? I'm not a waitress. Your sad little graphic design checks, then? I say nothing. Let him wonder. The waiter returns. Receipt. Approved. He hands me the slip, and I sign with a steady hand. I tip generously, 25%, because I've been on the other side of these transactions. 3,120 euros. One signature. Done. Damon's laughter dies in his throat. Wait, that actually went through? It went through. How, you're... He can't finish the sentence because he doesn't know what I am. None of them do. I'm what, Damon? So... He has no answer. I place the receipt on the table. Black ink on white paper. Proof. Silence. Complete stunning silence. And then Elias Warren stands. He moves slowly, deliberately, reaching for the leather briefcase he brought to dinner. The one no one questioned, because old men carry briefcases. He opens it and removes a folder. Legal-sized, heavy. Since we're revealing truths tonight, he says, his voice clear and calm, I have some truths of my own. Dad, what are you doing? Joel's voice tightens, something I should have done years ago. Elias looks at me, and his eyes are gentle. Lena, I'm sorry this is how you have to find out, but it's time. He opens the folder. Inside are documents, financial records, bank statements, trust fund paperwork dated 22 years ago. When Lena was 5, Elias begins, her biological parents died in a car accident. They left behind a trust fund of $600,000, money meant to pay for her education, her future, her life. I stop breathing. Joel and Linda adopted Lena not out of kindness, but because they were named executors of that trust. Elias's voice is steady, but I hear the anger beneath it. $600,000. Every single penny. Dad, that's ancient history. Joel tries. Ancient history? Elias's eyes flash. You stole from a child, Joel. You used her inheritance to pay for Damon's private school, for Sky's cars, for your vacations, for this. He gestures around the restaurant. This lifestyle of yours. The documents spread across the table. Bank transfers, account statements, everything meticulously documented. While Lena wore hand-me-downs, lived in the spare room you never bothered to heat properly, worked part-time jobs through college, her money paid for you to live like kings. I can't move, can't speak. 22 years of wondering why I was always less than. 22 years of being told I wasn't good enough, wasn't worth the investment, wasn't truly family. They stole my future to fund their children's present. That's a lie! Linda's voice cracks. We gave her a home, a family. You gave her servitude, Elias says coldly. And you took her birthright. Joel stands, face red. Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. You're old. You're confused. I am 84 years old, Joel. I am not confused. I am certain. Elias reaches into the folder and pulls out one final document. Which is why I had my lawyers draw this up last month. He places it on the table. A new will. My estate is valued at approximately $2.8 billion. Elias's voice carries throughout the now silent restaurant. Real estate investments, holdings accumulated over 60 years of careful work. I had intended to divide it among my grandchildren upon my death. He looks at Damon, at Sky, then at me. I've changed my mind. Damon goes pale. Grandpa, what? Effective immediately, my new will names one sole heir to my entire estate. Elias places his hand on my shoulder. Lena Brooks. The world stops. I stare at the document. Legal language, signatures, notarizations. Official, real, $2.8 billion. No! Damon's voice is a whisper. No, 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 no. This is insane. Shawl explodes. You can't do this. She's not even family. She's more family than any of you have ever been, Elias says quietly. Linda bursts into tears. Theatrical tears. The kind she's perfected over decades. Daddy Warren, please, think about what you're doing. Think about your real grandchildren. I'm thinking about my real grandchildren. Elias looks at me. I'm looking at her. Sky's phone is still recording. Her hands are shaking. Damon suddenly lunges, grabbing for the documents. This is fake. This has to be fake. You're senile, old man. She manipulated you. She... Touch those documents, and I'll have you arrested. Elias's voice cuts like ice. My lawyer is on speakerphone right now. He pulls out his phone. On the screen, a video call. A distinguished man in a suit sits in what looks like a law office. Good evening, everyone, the lawyer says. I'm Robert Chen, Mr. Warren's attorney. I'm calling to confirm that the documents before you are legitimate, legally binding, and irrevocable. Ms. Brooks is now designated as the sole beneficiary of the Warren estate. Irrevocable? Joel's face drains of color. Irrevocable, Robert confirms. Additionally, Mr. Warren has provided me with comprehensive documentation regarding the misappropriation of Miss Brooks's trust fund. We will be pursuing restitution to the fullest extent of the law. The table descends into chaos. Damon is screaming, actually screaming about unfairness. Linda's theatrical sobs have become genuine wails. Joel is on his phone, frantically calling someone. Sky is frozen, phone still recording, probably wondering how to spin this disaster. But I sit perfectly still, the eye of the hurricane. Elias squeezes my shoulder, gently. They wanted you to pay the bill tonight, Lena. They wanted to humiliate you. Instead, you showed them exactly who you are, someone with dignity, grace, and strength they've never possessed. I look up at him, tears finally streaming down my face. You knew. You knew all along. I knew some. I suspected more. And I watched for 22 years, waiting for the right moment to make it right. He hands me the folder. This is yours now. All of it. You've earned it just by surviving them. The couple at the next table starts clapping. Then another table joins in. Within seconds, the entire restaurant is applauding. Strangers wiping tears from their eyes. The waiter who gave me the bill is beaming. Even the sommelier raises a glass in my direction. Damon's screams die in his throat as he realizes the entire restaurant has witnessed his downfall. An adopted girl like you, Elias says softly, just for me, doesn't belong here. You're right, Damon, she doesn't. She belongs somewhere far better than any of you could ever imagine. I stand, legs shaking but spine straight. The folder is heavy in my hands. Heavy with truth, with justice, with 22 years of stolen potential finally returned. My family, my former family, stares at me with expressions ranging from disbelief to fury to terror. I pick up my worn leather purse, the one that costs $12 and has served me faithfully for 3 years. I tuck the folder inside, and then I look at Damon. Thank you, I say. He blinks. What? Thank you for the birthday dinner. Thank you for the humiliation. Thank you for saying what you really think of me. I smile, and for the first time in 22 years, it's a smile that reaches my eyes. Because without tonight, without your cruelty, without your need to make me small, Grandfather might not have chosen this moment to set things right. I turn to go. You can't just leave, Joel shouts. We need to discuss this. I don't need anything from you. Not anymore. I walk toward the exit, past tables of strangers who watch the truth unfold, past waiters who understand struggle and dignity, past a world that suddenly feels full of possibility. Behind me, I hear Elias's voice, calm amid the chaos. Oh, and Joel, you might want to call your accountant. The audit begins Monday. The restaurant door closes behind me. Outside, Miami's night air wraps around me like an embrace. The city lights shimmer, blues and golds reflecting off glass towers, palm trees swaying in the salt-tinged breeze. Somewhere in the distance, music plays. Life continues. I stand on the sidewalk, folder pressed against my chest, and for the first time in 22 years, I breathe. Really breathe. The adopted girl who didn't belong has finally found her place. Not at their table, not in their world, but in a future they tried to steal from me. And it turns out that future is worth $2.8 billion. But more than that, So much more than any amount of money. It's worth the truth. I hail a cab. Tomorrow, everything changes. Tonight, justice tastes like chicken and costs $2,500. Worth every penny. I wake to the sound of my phone exploding. Not literally, of course. But the vibrations are so constant, so relentless, that for a moment in my half-conscious state, I think something is actually wrong with the device. Notifications cascade across the screen like a digital waterfall. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, numbers climbing so fast I can't track them. 3,247 notifications. No, wait. 3,251, 3,259. I sit up in bed, heart racing. My apartment, a studio in a building that smells perpetually of curry and ambition, suddenly feels very small. The morning light filters through my single window, casting long shadows across the thrift store furniture I've collected over the years. On my nightstand, next to my phone, sits the folder. Elias's folder. The documents that changed everything. It wasn't a dream. I reach for the phone with trembling fingers and open Instagram first. My account, private, fewer than 200 followers, mostly old college friends and some design community connections, has requests in the thousands. I don't understand until I see the tags. @sky.warren lifestyle has posted a video. My stomach drops. The video is 13 minutes long. I watch it in my bed, knees pulled to my chest, coffee growing cold in my hands. Sky sits in her bedroom, the bedroom in our parents' house, the one with the walk-in closet bigger than my entire apartment. Her makeup is perfect, even as tears stream down her face. Manufactured tears. I've seen them before. When she wanted a new car. When she wanted to skip family dinners. When she wanted anything she wasn't getting. "Hey everyone," she begins, voice wavering. "I need to talk to you about something really serious. Something that happened last night. Something that's torn my family apart." She tells a story, but it's not the story that happened. In Sky's version, I'm the villain. In Sky's version, I manipulated their elderly grandfather. In Sky's version, I preyed on his dementia and took advantage of his confusion. In Sky's version, the poor Warren family is the victim of a calculated con. "She never loved us." Sky sobs into the camera. "She was always so quiet, so distant. We tried to include her, we tried to make her feel welcome. But she was just waiting, waiting for her moment to strike." I watch my life be rewritten in real time. And now she's taking everything. Our grandfather's entire estate, billions of dollars, money that should go to his real family, his blood. Sky wipes her tears with a tissue that probably costs more than my grocery budget. I don't know what to do, guys. I really don't. My family is devastated. We're destroyed. The video has 2.3 million views. 2.3 million. I scroll through the comments, each one a paper cut to my soul. "OMG Sky, I'm so sorry. This is elder abuse. Someone needs to investigate that gold digger. Adopted kids are always trouble. Should have seen the signs. Your family should sue. Get that money back. Praying for you and your family. But then I see others. Why isn't she showing the whole story? Where's the proof of dementia? Mr. Warren seemed pretty sharp on that speakerphone. Notice how she doesn't mention the stolen trust fund. Something's not adding up here. The internet is divided. War in the comments. People taking sides on a story they only know fragments of. I set down my phone and tried to breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The meditation app I downloaded 6 months ago told me this helps with anxiety. The meditation app was wrong. My phone rings, actually rings. An unknown number. I answer because I've lost the ability to think clearly. Miss Brooks? A professional female voice. This is Channel 7 News. We'd love to get your side of the story regarding the Warren inheritance dispute. Would you be available for an interview today? I hang up. It rings again immediately. Different number. Lena Brooks? Miami Herald. Quick comment on your adoption story? Hang up again. Ms. Brooks, this is... I turn off my phone. For 10 minutes, I sit in silence. My apartment has never felt so quiet or so loud. My thoughts race like cars on a freeway, colliding and separating, never stopping. Then I remember. Elias gave me a card. Robert Chen, his lawyer. Call if you need anything, he'd said, day or night. I turn my phone back on, ignore the avalanche of notifications, and dial. Robert answers on the second ring. Lena, I've been expecting your call. His voice is calm, professional, reassuring. Have you seen the video? Yes. Have you responded to any media requests? No? Good. Don't, not yet. I hear papers shuffling. I need you to come to my office. Can you be here by 11? I look at my clock, 9:47 a.m. I'll be there. And Lena? Yes? Don't engage online. Don't post anything. Don't respond to anyone. Silence is your strongest weapon right now. Let them fill the void with their lies. The truth will come out. I dress in my best outfit. A navy blazer I found at Goodwill. A white blouse from Target. Slacks I bought for job interviews. Professional. Respectable. Nothing like the gold digger Sky described. The Uber to Robert's office takes me through Miami's business district. Glass towers reflecting the morning sun. People in suits rushing to important meetings. A world of money and power I've never been part of. Until now. Robert Chen's office occupies the 47th floor of one of those glass towers. The reception area is all leather and mahogany, the kind of quiet luxury that speaks of old money and older secrets. Miss Brooks? The receptionist smiles warmly. Mr. Chen is expecting you. Right this way. Robert's office overlooks Biscayne Bay. The view is stunning. Water stretching to the horizon, boats leaving white trails like signatures on blue paper. He stands as I enter, extending his hand. Thank you for coming so quickly. Thank you for seeing me. We sit. He slides a tablet across the desk. The video has hit 5 million views. It's trending on Twitter. Every major news outlet in Florida has picked up the story. Yahais. He taps the screen, and headlines scroll past. Adopted daughter inherits billions. Fairy tale or family fraud. Warren Harris or Warren theft. The internet decides. Influencer claims adopted sister manipulated grandfather. Elder abuse or earned justice. Miami's most controversial inheritance. I feel sick. The narrative is currently against you, Robert continues. Sky struck first. She controlled the story, but, he holds up a finger, she made a critical mistake. What? She recorded the dinner. I blink. What do you mean? Oh dear. He turns the tablet around. There's another video, shorter, maybe 2 minutes. It's Sky's original recording from the restaurant. The footage is shaky, clearly from when she had her phone on that tripod. But the audio is crystal clear, and there's Damon standing, champagne in hand. An adopted girl like you doesn't belong here. The laughter, my face, the waiter placing the bill in front of me. She posted this? I ask. No, but someone at the restaurant did. They screen recorded her live stream before she could take it down. It's been shared over 100,000 times in the last 3 hours. I watch myself pay the bill. Watch my family laugh. Watch Elias stand with his folder. The truth, documented. The tide is turning, Robert says. But we need to move carefully. The Warrens are scrambling. They've hired their own legal team, Marcus Webb. Very expensive, very aggressive. They're preparing to challenge the will. On what grounds? Lack of testamentary capacity, undue influence. Basically, they're going to argue that Elias was mentally incompetent and that you manipulated him. The accusation stings, even though I know it's false. He's sharp as a tack. I know. I've worked with him for 15 years. But they'll bring in doctors, experts, anyone willing to say otherwise for the right price. Robert leans forward. Which is why we need to be proactive. I've scheduled a cognitive assessment for Elias tomorrow with 3 independent physicians. We'll document his mental acuity beyond any doubt. And the trust fund? My parents' money? Robert's expression darkens. That's actually the stronger case. Elias provided me with documentation going back 22 years. Bank transfers, account statements, expenditure records. The evidence of embezzlement is overwhelming. What happens now? Now, we file. I'm preparing a civil suit for breach of fiduciary duty, conversion of assets, and fraud. We're seeking $600,000 in principal plus interest, which brings the total to approximately $1.8 million. We're also filing a complaint with the Florida Department of Children and Families for investigation. I sit back in my chair, overwhelmed. 24 hours ago, I was eating chicken at a restaurant, trying not to cry. Now I'm in a lawyer's office discussing multi-million-dollar lawsuits. Lena, Robert's voice softens. I know this is a lot, but I need you to understand something. You have truth on your side. You have documentation. You have a sound legal case. What you don't have right now is public perception. That's what Sky is fighting for, and she's winning. So what do I do? He slides a business card across the desk. I've contacted a crisis management firm. They handle high-profile cases. They want to meet with you today. I don't have money for... Elias is covering all expenses. He anticipated this. He knew his family wouldn't go quietly. Robert's eyes are kind. Let us help you, Lena. You've spent 22 years alone in this fight. You don't have to be alone anymore. I take the card. The tears come before I can stop them. Not sad tears, but the kind that come when you've been holding something so long your arms finally give out. Robert hands me a tissue. There's one more thing. I wipe my eyes. What? Elias wants to see you. Tonight, if possible. He says it's important. The crisis management firm, Sterling Communications, occupies an office in Coral Gables that looks like it was designed by someone who's seen too many political dramas. Lots of glass, lots of screens showing news feeds, lots of very attractive people in very expensive suits. Marissa Chen, no relation to Robert, she clarifies immediately. Heads my case. She's 40-something, sharp-featured, with eyes that miss nothing. So you're the woman who broke the internet, she says, not quite smiling. I didn't mean to. No one ever does. She gestures to a wall of screens. Right now, the hashtag #HadWarrenInheritance is trending number 2 nationally. Hashish Justice for Lena is at number 7. But Adopted Gold Digger is climbing fast, thanks to your sister's followers. I wince. She's not my sister. Legally she is, which is actually good for us. Marissa sits across from me. Here's the situation. Sky has 500,000 followers. She's been building sympathy for months with her relatable rich girl content. She knows how to work an audience, but she's also impulsive, narcissistic, and, crucially, she recorded evidence of her family's abuse. She didn't record everything. She recorded enough. The restaurant video is damning. Her brother's words are damning. But here's what's more interesting. Marissa pulls up another screen. Your story is getting picked up by adoption advocacy groups, foster care organizations, anti-bullying campaigns. You're becoming a symbol. A symbol of what? Of quiet strength, of dignity under fire, of getting the last word without saying a word. She leans forward. That's your brand, Lena. That's your narrative. The adopted child who was robbed, abused, humiliated, and who never once stooped to their level. The woman who paid the bill with grace while they laughed. The heir who didn't seek the inheritance but deserved it more than anyone. I'm not trying to have a brand. I know. That's what makes it authentic. Marissa turns to her computer. Here's what I recommend. Controlled silence. We don't respond to Sky directly. We don't engage with the trolls. But we do release a single, carefully crafted statement. Short, dignified, factual. And then we let the legal process speak for itself. What kind of statement? She types as she talks. Something like, I am grateful for the love and protection my grandfather has shown me. I trust in the legal process to reveal the truth. I ask for privacy during this difficult time. That's it. That's it. We say nothing else. We post nothing else. We let them spin and shout and rage. And every day, their lies unravel a little more. Marissa looks at me. The internet has a short attention span, but it also has a long memory. When the truth comes out, and it will, they won't just lose this battle. They'll lose everything. I think about Damon's face when I paid that bill. The shock, the confusion. Okay, I say. Let's do it. Marissa smiles. Good. Now, let's talk about your grandfather's interview request. His what? He called us this morning. He wants to do an on-camera interview. His idea, not ours. Says he has things to say that people need to hear. Marissa's eyes gleam. 84 years old, sharper than most 30-year-olds, and absolutely furious. He wants to tell his side. Will that help? If he's as lucid as Robert says, it'll be devastating for them. An elderly man, clearly of sound mind, explaining exactly why he chose to disinherit his biological grandchildren for their adopted sister. She nods slowly. It's not just effective, it's poetic justice. I take another Uber to Elias's house. He lives in Coconut Grove, and in a beautiful old Spanish-style home surrounded by banyan trees. The property has been in the family for 50 years. Joel has been eyeing it for decades, waiting for his father to die so he could sell it to developers. Now it's mine. The thought still doesn't feel real. Elias meets me at the door himself. No butler, no housekeeper, just an old man in a cardigan, looking tired but determined. "You came," he says. "You asked." "I did." He leads me inside. The house smells like old books and jasmine. Covers the walls, real art, the kind he collected over decades. Everything has history, everything has story. We sit in his study. He pours tea from a pot that looks older than both of us. "I saw the video," he says. "Your sister's performance." "She's not my sister." "No, she's not." He hands me a cup. "I also saw the other video, the one from the restaurant, the one where they laughed at you." I sip the tea. It tastes like chamomile and memory. "I've watched it 17 times. Elias continues. "Each time I notice something new. The way your mother covered her mouth while she laughed. The way your father didn't even try to stop Damon. The way Sky kept her phone running thinking this would be content." He shakes his head. 22 years, Lena. I've watched them treat you like a stray dog they took in for the tax benefits. And I've said nothing. That's on me. You couldn't have known about the trust fund. I knew enough." His voice hardens. "I knew they were treating you differently. I knew they weren't educating you the way they educated their biological children. I knew they kept you in that cold room while Damon and Sky had the entire upper floor to themselves." He sets down his tea. "I'm an old man, Lena. I've lived long enough to know that silence in the face of injustice isn't neutrality. It's complicity. I don't know what to say. That's why I'm doing this," he continues. "That's why the will, the lawyers, all of it. It's not just about money. It's about righting a wrong. It's about showing you and the world that truth matters. That dignity matters. That blood isn't the only thing that makes a family. They're going to fight it," I say. "They're going to say you're not mentally competent." "Let them." Elias smiles, and for a moment I see the young man he must have been. Sharp, shrewd, unstoppable. "I've prepared for this, Lena. Medical records, cognitive assessments, psychological evaluations. I started planning this 3 years ago when I saw how they treated you at Christmas, remember? When Joel gave you a gas station gift card while Damon got a Rolex. I remember. I'd cried myself to sleep that night. I've had 3 independent psychiatrists evaluate me. I've video recorded myself weekly, discussing current events, complex business matters, philosophical concepts. I've documented everything." He taps his temple. "They want to call me senile. They're going to have to prove it against 3 years of evidence to the contrary." "Why?" I ask. "Why go to all this trouble for me?" Elias is quiet for a long moment. Outside, the banyan trees whisper in the evening breeze. "Because you reminded me of her," he finally says. "Your grandmother, my Eleanor, died 20 years ago. But I see her in you every day. The quiet strength, the grace under pressure, The way you refuse to let cruelty make you cruel. His eyes glisten. She would have loved you, Lena. She would have fought for you the way I should have fought years ago. I set down my tea, because my hands are shaking too much to hold it. I'm not leaving you anything you don't deserve, Elias continues. That money? I earned it through 60 years of honest work. I get to decide where it goes. And I've decided it goes to the person in this family who understands that wealth is a responsibility, not a birthright. He reaches across and takes my hand. You, Lena, you understand that because you've lived without it. You've seen both sides. You've been hungry. You've been cold. You've been dismissed. I don't know if I'm ready for this, I admit. No one ever is. But you have good instincts, good values, and good people around you now. Robert is the best attorney I've ever worked with. Trust him. He squeezes my hand. And trust yourself. You've survived your whole life on your own strength. Now you'll thrive with it. We sit together as the sun sets over Coconut Grove, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Tomorrow the war continues. Tomorrow there will be more videos, more headlines, more accusations. But tonight, in this house that's now mine, with this man who chose to be my family, I feel something I haven't felt in 22 years. Hope. Grandfather, I say, testing the word. He smiles. Yes, granddaughter? Thank you. He pats my hand. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when we've won. I have a feeling we will. There's something surreal about watching your family self-destruct in real time on the internet. It's been 5 days since the restaurant. 5 days since Sky's viral video. 5 days since the world learnt my name and decided to weigh in on my worth. I'm sitting in Robert Chen's conference room, surrounded by enough legal documents to wallpaper my studio apartment twice over. Robert is on the phone with someone, another lawyer, another expert, another piece of the chess game I'm learning to play. On the table in front of me is my laptop. I know I shouldn't look. Marissa told me not to engage, not to doomscroll, not to let their poison into my bloodstream. But I'm human, and curiosity is a monster that doesn't sleep. Damon has posted another rant. This one is on his rarely used Instagram. He's in his BMW, the one my stolen trust fund paid for, ranting directly into the camera. Everyone wants to make my sister out to be some victim, he says. And I notice he doesn't say adopted sister this time. His lawyers probably coached him. But you don't know what we went through. You don't know how hard it was. Growing up with someone who was never really part of the family, who never tried to fit in, who was always so separate. He runs his hand through his hair, the same hand that held the champagne glass when he told me I didn't belong. And now she's taking everything. Our grandfather, who's obviously not well, Tab, by the way, is giving her everything our family built. Is that fair? Is that justice? He shakes his head. We're consulting with the best lawyers in Florida. We're going to fight this because family matters. Blood matters. The video has 800,000 views. The comments are a war zone. Robert hangs up the phone and sees me watching. Lena, what did we say about engaging with that content? I'm not engaging, just observing. Same toxicity, different vessel. He pulls up a chair beside me. But since you're watching, you should know. Damon is digging his own grave, and every time he speaks, he reveals more about his character. That video, he mentions nothing about the stolen trust fund. Nothing about how they treated you. Just blood matters. You know what the public hears? Entitlement. Some people are on his side. Some people will always choose the comfortable lie over the uncomfortable truth. But the numbers are shifting. He turns my laptop toward himself and pulls up a different screen. Look at this. It's a tweet thread from someone with a blue check mark. Thread. I grew up with Lena Brooks. Let me tell you who she really is. I recognize the name. Sarah Martinez. We went to community college together. The thread is long. Sarah writes about watching me work 3 jobs while taking a full course load, about me helping her with design projects even when I was exhausted, about me tutoring other students for free because I knew what it was like to struggle, about the time she mentioned needing money for textbooks and I secretly paid for them, pretending the bookstore had made a mistake, say. I didn't know she knew that was me. The thread has been retweeted 50,000 times. This is what I mean, Robert says. The truth surfaces. Not all at once, not dramatically, but steadily, like water finding cracks. He closes the laptop. Speaking of truth, the forensic accountant finished his preliminary report. My heart rate spikes. And? Robert slides a thick folder across the table. It's worse than we thought. I open it slowly. Page of numbers, transactions, account histories. It takes me a moment to understand what I'm seeing. They didn't just steal the $600,000, Robert explains. They laundered it, funneled it through various accounts, used it as collateral for loans they never repaid, invested portions in Joel's failed business ventures. He points to a highlighted section. See this? In 2011, they took $50,000 from what remained of your trust to pay for Damon's DUI lawyer. In 20, another $30,000 for Sky's gap year in Europe. In 20, $80 million to pay off credit card debt Linda accumulated. Each line is a knife. Each transaction, a betrayal. The total misappropriated funds with interest and accounting for investment returns they denied you comes to approximately $1,083 million. I stare at the number. $1,083 million, money my parents left for me. Money meant to give me a future. Gone. We're filing the civil suit tomorrow, Robert continues. But there's more. More? He pulls out another document. I spoke with the district attorney's office. Given the amount and the clear paper trail, they're considering criminal charges. Embezzlement, fraud, breach of fiduciary duty. If convicted, Joel and Linda could face prison time. Prison. The word hangs in the air like smoke. I don't know if I want that, I say quietly. Robert studies me. What do you want, Lena? It's a question I've rarely been asked. What do I want? Not what do they need, not what would be easiest, not what would cause the least conflict. What do I want? I want the truth to be known, I finally say. I want people to understand what really happened. Not for revenge, not for satisfaction, but because I struggle to articulate it. Because I spent 22 years thinking I wasn't good enough, thinking I was the problem, thinking their treatment of me was somehow my fault. And now I know it wasn't. I want other people like me to know it wasn't their fault either. Robert nods slowly. That's a better answer than revenge. And honestly, more devastating for them. What do you mean? Your family expected you to fight like they do, with anger, with accusations, with drama. Instead, you're fighting with truth, with dignity, with legal process. He smiles grimly. They don't know how to combat that. Look at Damon's videos. He's flailing. He's emotional. He's making mistakes. As if on cue, his phone buzzes. He looks at it and his eyebrows rise. Speaking of mistakes, turn on the TV. He reaches for the remote and clicks on the wall-mounted screen. It's tuned to a local news channel. And there's Damon, live, outside the courthouse. He's surrounded by reporters, cameras flashing. He's supposed to be there for a preliminary hearing about something unrelated. Some business dispute Joel is involved in. But the reporters don't care about that. Mr. Warren, Juan, any comment on your grandfather's will? Is it true your family stole your sister's trust fund? What do you say to allegations of elder abuse? Damon's face contorts. I can see the moment he snaps, the same flash I saw at the restaurant. It's all lies, he shouts. She's a liar. She manipulated our grandfather. She's not even a real Warren. She's just some orphan my parents felt sorry for. The reporters eat it up. More questions, more shouting, more chaos. Damon! A voice off camera. Joel, I think. Don't say anything else. But Damon is beyond reason. You want to know the truth? Fine. Here's the truth. Lena never belonged with us. She was always weird, always quiet, always watching us like we were specimens. We gave her everything. A home, a family, a name. And this is how she repays us. He's red-faced now, veins bulging. She doesn't deserve a dime of grandfather's money. She doesn't deserve to breathe the same air as us. An adopted girl like her. He stops, realizes he's said too much, but the cameras have already captured it. Every word, every ugly syllable. Joel finally reaches him, physically pulling him away from the microphones. No more questions, no comment. They disappear into a black SUV. Robert mutes the TV. And that, Lena, is why we let them talk. Every time they open their mouths, they prove our case. I feel sick watching it. Part of me, a small tender part that still remembers Damon teaching me to ride a bike when I was 6, feels something like pity. He's destroying himself, and he doesn't even realize it. The cognitive assessment is scheduled for tomorrow, Robert says, changing the subject. Elias is ready. 3 independent psychiatrists, all board certified, none with any connection to your family. They'll do comprehensive testing, memory, reasoning, executive function, all of it. And if they find something wrong? They won't. I've known your grandfather for 15 years. The man is sharper than most of my junior associates. Robert closes his folder. But we'll have documentation. Irrefutable proof that he was of sound mind when he changed his will. That's what matters in court. My phone buzzes. It's a text from Marissa. Check your email. Statement ready for approval. I open my email and read the statement she's drafted. I'm grateful for my grandfather's love and support. I believe in the legal process and trust that truth will prevail. I ask for privacy during this difficult time for all involved. I have no further comment. Short. Dignified. Factual. I type back, approved. Good, Robert says, reading over my shoulder. That goes out in 1 hour. After that, no more statements, no interviews, no social media, just silence and legal process. The silence is harder than I thought it would be. The hardest battles are the ones we fight without noise. Robert stands. Go home, Lena. Rest. Eat something that isn't ramen. Tomorrow's big. The assessment, the civil filing, possibly more media attention. You need to be strong, so. I gather my things. At the door, I pause. Robert, do you think they'll ever understand what they did to me? He considers the question carefully. I think some people are incapable of seeing their own cruelty. They've spent so long justifying their actions that the lies have become truth in their minds. He meets my eyes, but that's not your burden anymore. You don't need their understanding. You don't need their apology. You just need your freedom. And that's what we're fighting for, Shin. That night, I dream of the spare room. Not the apartment I live in now, but the room I had in the Warren house. The one at the end of the hall, past the guest bedrooms, past the storage closet, past the room where they kept old furniture they didn't want anymore. The room was always cold. The heating vent didn't work properly. Joel said he'd fix it, but he never did. In winter, I'd sleep under 3 blankets and still shiver. In my dream, I'm there again. 12 years old, trying to do homework by the light of a single desk lamp because the overhead bulb burned out and no one bothered to replace it. I hear Sky in her room down the hall, music playing, friends laughing, the sounds of a life I wasn't part of. I hear Damon's video games, explosions and triumph, the sounds of entertainment I was never offered. I hear Joel and Linda downstairs. Glasses clinking, adult conversation, the sounds of parents who had stopped parenting me years ago. And I'm alone. Always alone. The dream shifts. I'm older now, 17. Applying for college. Community college is fine for you, Joel says, across the dinner table. You don't need anything fancy, but I have good grades. I could try for a scholarship. Scholarships are competitive, Lena. You need to be realistic about your situation. My situation. Being adopted. Being less than. Damon is already at his private university. Sky is looking at East Coast schools. Places that cost more per year than I'll earn in 5. But the decision is made. Joel's voice is final. We've given you a home, an education, more than most adopted children get. You should be grateful. Grateful. The word has been weaponized my entire life. I wake sweating, the words still echoing. 3:47 a.m. My apartment is silent. Through the thin walls, I hear my neighbor's TV. Some late-night comedy show. Laughter canned and hollow. I get up and make tea. While the water boils, I look at my phone. The statement has been released. 2 hours old now. I'm grateful for my grandfather's love and support. Grateful. But this time, the word is mine. This time, it's true. The reactions are immediate. News outlets are picking it up. Warren Harris breaks silence. I trust truth will prevail. And then I see it, a comment on one of the articles. From someone named Eleanor W. That girl has more grace in her silence than those people have in all their noise. She'll be fine. The universe protects those who protect their dignity. Eleanor. My grandmother's name. I know it's not her. Can't be her. She's been gone 20 years. But the coincidence, or maybe not coincidence, settles something in my chest. The kettle whistles. I pour my tea. Tomorrow, the assessment. Tomorrow, more evidence. Tomorrow, another step toward truth. But tonight, I sip my tea and feel something I haven't felt in a long time. Peace. Not the peace of everything being okay, but the peace of knowing you're on the right path. The peace of truth being your compass. I open my laptop and look up scholarships, educational opportunities, design programs. Not because I need the money anymore. Elias has made sure of that. But because I want to know what was stolen from me. What doors were closed. MIT, Stanford, RISD, UCLA. All the places I never applied because I was told to be realistic about my situation. I find myself on RISD's website, their graphic design program, world-renowned. Impossible to get into, even more impossible to afford. Except, not anymore. I could go. I could actually go. I could become the designer I always wanted to be. I could study with the best. I could have the education they stole from me. Or I could take that money and help others. Other adopted kids. Other foster youth. Others who were told to be realistic about their situation. Why not both? The idea takes shape like dawn, slowly, then all at once. A foundation, named for my biological parents, providing scholarships to adopted and foster youth. Funding legal help for kids whose trusts were mismanaged. Creating opportunities for those who were told they didn't deserve them. I grab a notebook and start writing. Ideas flow like water finding cracks. By the time the sun rises over Miami, I have 15 pages of notes. A vision. A purpose. Money is just paper until you give it meaning. I know what mine will mean. The morning of Elias's cognitive assessment arrives with unseasonable rain. Miami doesn't usually rain like this in November. Steady, grey, the kind of rain that turns the world into a watercolor painting. I watch it from the window of my Uber as we drive toward the medical center. Each droplet a small percussion against the glass. My phone buzzes. A text from Elias. Don't be nervous. They're testing me, not you. I've been studying for this my whole life. It's called living. I smile despite my anxiety. Even facing his family's accusations of dementia, his humor remains intact. The medical center is in Coral Gables, a sleek building of glass and steel that houses some of the best cognitive specialists in Florida. Robert arranged for 3 independent psychiatrists, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, Dr. James Okonkwo, and to Patricia Reeves, to conduct separate evaluations, 3 opinions, 3 reports, irrefutable evidence. I arrive before Elias. Robert is already there, briefcase in hand, looking calm in a way I can't quite manage. You didn't have to come, he says. This is routine. I wanted to be here. I know. He appreciates it. The lobby is quiet except for the rain. Modern art decorates the walls. Abstract pieces that could mean everything or nothing. I study them while we wait, finding patterns in chaos. 20 minutes later, Elias arrives with his driver, an older man named Marcus, who's been with him for 30 years. The whole battalion is here, Elias jokes, shaking rain from his umbrella. He's dressed impeccably. Navy suit, burgundy tie, shoes shine to mirrors, war clothes. How are you feeling? I ask, like a man about to prove his family wrong. So excellent. We are directed to a waiting area on the third floor. The tests will take most of the day. 3 separate sessions, each lasting 2 to 3 hours. Memory tests, reasoning tests, executive function tests, personality assessments. The works. Elias Warren? A woman in a white coat appears. Dr. Mitchell, she's younger than I expected, maybe 40, with kind eyes and a professional demeanor. Elias stands. That's me, ready to prove I'm not crazy. Dr. Mitchell smiles, ready to assess your cognitive function, same thing, less dramatic. He winks at me. Wish me luck. You don't need it. He disappears through the door. Robert and I settle into the waiting room. It's going to be a long day. You know, Robert says, opening his laptop. In 15 years of knowing Elias, I've never seen him uncertain about anything. The man built a real estate empire from nothing. He's navigated market crashes, hostile takeovers, family disputes. He's never flinched. What's your point? My point is, he's not uncertain now either. He chose you deliberately, Lena. This isn't the impulse of a confused old man. This is the calculated decision of someone who's thought about it for years. I've wondered about that. Why me? Why now? Why at all? He told me I remind him of Eleanor, I say. You do. I met her once, near the end. Same quiet strength, same dignity. Robert types something on his laptop. Eleanor never liked Joel much. Said he inherited the ambition without the ethics. Did she know about the trust fund? She died before you were adopted, but I think she would have seen it, would have stopped it. He closes his laptop. You know, when Elias first came to me about changing his will, I questioned him. Ethically, I had to. I asked him every hard question. Was he sure? Did he understand the implications? Had he considered his biological grandchildren? What did he say? He said, Robert, my biological grandchildren have been given every opportunity, every advantage, every dollar they could want. They've had the best education money can buy. They've had my support, my resources, my name. And what have they become? Entitled, cruel, lazy people who bully the one person who had nothing. If that's what my blood produces, I want nothing to do with my blood. The words hit hard. Not because they're harsh, but because they're true. He said something else too. Robert continues. He said, Lena is the only one who earned nothing and deserved everything. She's the only one who worked for what she has. She's the only one who showed grace under pressure. If my legacy is going to mean anything, it has to go to someone who understands that wealth is a responsibility, not a right. I feel tears threatening, but push them back. So no, Lena, this isn't the decision of a confused mind. This is the decision of a clear mind. One of the clearest I've ever encountered. We sit in silence after that. The rain continues outside. My phone buzzes. Sky has posted again. I don't watch it. I've learned. Instead, I pull out my notebook, the one I filled with foundation ideas last night. I start refining. The Lena Brooks Foundation. No, maybe the Warren Foundation. Or maybe something else entirely. I sketch logos. I draft mission statements. I outline programs. Full scholarships for adopted and foster youth pursuing higher education. Legal aid program for children whose trusts were mismanaged. Mentorship network connecting foster youth with professionals in their fields of interest. Emergency fund for aging out foster youth. Ideas flow. Purpose takes shape. An hour passes. Then 2. Dr. Okonkwo calls for Elias next. Then Dr. Reeves. By 3 p.m. the assessments are complete. Elias emerges, looking tired but triumphant. How did it go? I ask. They tested everything. My memory, perfect. My reasoning, flawless. Thus my executive function, superior to most people half my age apparently. He grins. Dr. Mitchell called me remarkably sharp and highly cognitively intact. Dr. Okonkwo used the word exceptional. Dr. Reeves actually laughed when I beat her time on the cognitive flexibility test. Robert is already on his phone. I'm requesting the formal reports immediately. These will be crucial when Joel's team tries to challenge. Let them challenge, Elias says. Let them bring their hired experts. We have 3 independent, board-certified psychiatrists with no connection to this family who will testify that I am of sound mind. Their expert will have to overcome that. We walk out of the medical center together, the rain having softened to a drizzle. The world smells clean, that particular scent after rain where everything feels new. Lena, Elias says, as we reach the cars. I want you to know something. What? This? He gestures vaguely, encompassing everything. The assessment, the lawyers, the media circus. None of this is about punishing them. Not really. I wait. It's about truth, pure and simple. 22 years of lies, and I'm tired of it. They stole from you, yes, but they also stole from themselves. They stole their chance to be decent people. They stole their opportunity to know you, really know you. They stole their own humanity. He takes my hand. This inheritance, it's not revenge. It's truth. It's justice. It's proof that actions have consequences and character matters. I know, grandfather. Good. He squeezes my hand. Now go home. Rest. Tomorrow, the civil suit is filed. After that, he sighs. After that, the real battle begins. I'm halfway home when Robert calls. Turn on the news, he says. Channel 4. I ask my Uber driver to put on the radio. He looks at me strangely, but complies. Breaking news in the Warren inheritance case. We're receiving reports that attorneys for Joel and Linda Warren have filed an emergency motion to freeze all assets pending a mental competency evaluation of Elias Warren. My stomach drops. The filing alleges that Mr. Warren, 84, is suffering from age-related cognitive decline and has been unduly influenced by his adopted granddaughter. The motion requests a court-appointed evaluator to assess. They filed already? I ask Robert, phone pressed to my ear. Just got served. They're fast, I'll give them that. Marcus Webb is aggressive. Robert doesn't sound worried, though. But they made a mistake. What mistake? They filed before our assessments were complete. They don't know we have 3 independent evaluations documenting Elias's cognitive function. They played their hand too early. Can they freeze the assets? They can try. But I'm filing a response tonight with the assessment results. 3 doctors versus their speculation. It won't hold. The Uber drops me at my apartment. I rush inside, turning on my laptop immediately. The news is everywhere now. Every channel, every website, every social media platform. Warren family files motion. Claim grandfather is mentally incompetent. Battle over billions. Family accuses adopted sister of elder manipulation. Inheritance war escalates. Legal fight for Warren fortune. I scan the articles. Joel and Linda gave a statement. We are deeply concerned for my father's well-being. Recent behavior suggests cognitive decline that has made him vulnerable to manipulation. We are taking necessary legal steps to protect him and ensure his wishes, his true wishes, are honored. Our family loves Lena, but we cannot stand by while our father is being exploited. They love me. They actually wrote that they love me. The rage that rises is unexpected and fierce. 22 years of being treated like an unwanted pet, and now they claim love. Now, when billions of dollars are at stake. My phone rings. It's Marissa. Don't respond, she says immediately. I know you're angry. I know you want to scream. Don't. They're lying. I know, and everyone else is starting to know too. Look at the comments. Look at the public reaction. I look. She's right. They had 3 doctors today, didn't they? This filing is desperate. So they love her now? Where was that love when they were stealing her inheritance? Notice they didn't mention the $600,000 trust fund. Interesting. This family is disgusting, that poor girl. Elder manipulation? The man hired his own lawyers and doctors. How is that manipulation? The tide is turning. Slowly, but definitely. Our statement stands, Marissa says. No new response. Let the legal process work. Robert will handle the filing. You just keep being dignified, keep being silent, keep being you. What if the judge freezes the assets? Then we appeal. But based on what Robert has, I doubt it'll come to that. 3 independent assessments are gold. Their motion is based on speculation and desperation. Facts beat feelings in court. After we hang up, I sit in my dark apartment and try to center myself. They're fighting back. Of course they are. Billions of dollars don't change hands without war. But I have truth. I have documentation. I have 3 psychiatrists willing to testify that Elias Warren is of sound mind. And I have something they've never had. I have people who believe in me. My phone buzzes. A text from Elias. Don't let their noise drown out your signal. They're loud because they're scared. Stay quiet, because you're certain. Tomorrow we file. Tomorrow, truth goes on the record. Tomorrow we begin to end this. I type back, thank you for everything. His response is immediate. Thank me when we win. And we will win, Lena, because we're right. And right always wins eventually. It just takes longer than we'd like. I set down my phone and look out my window. The rain has stopped. Stars are beginning to emerge through breaking clouds. Tomorrow, the civil suit files. Tomorrow, Robert submits the assessment results. Tomorrow, the war moves from social media to courtrooms. But tonight, in this moment, I have peace. Not because the fight is over, but because I know who I am. I am Lena Brooks, 27 years old, adopted at 5, designer, survivor, heiress, and I am not afraid. The morning the civil suit is filed, I wake before dawn. There's something about the hour before sunrise, That liminal space between darkness and light that makes everything feel possible. The world holds its breath. The day hasn't decided what it wants to be yet. I make coffee in my small kitchen, watching the sky shift from black to navy to the first hints of purple. My apartment is quiet. The folder of documents sits on my table like a sleeping lion. Dangerous, powerful, waiting. Robert said the filing would go live at 9 a.m. The complaint against Joel and Linda Warren for breach of fiduciary duty, conversion of assets and fraud. Every transaction documented. Every betrayal catalogued. Every dollar accounted for. $1.83 million. The number that represents my stolen childhood. My phone buzzes. A text from Elias. Today, we put truth on the record. Whatever happens after, that truth can never be erased. They can lie to the world, but the court documents will tell the real story forever. Forever. The word settles into me. I shower, dress in simple clothes, jeans, a grey sweater I've had for years. I'm not making any public appearances today. I don't need to perform dignity. I just need to live it. At 8:47 a.m., Robert calls. It's done. Filing submitted. Going live in 13 minutes. How do you feel about it? Confident. The documentation is airtight. The forensic accounting leaves no room for interpretation. They took your money. They spent it on themselves. The paper trail is undeniable. A pause. How do you feel? How do I feel? The question requires examination. Scared, I admit, but not of losing. Scared of what happens when the world sees the full truth. Scared of being that exposed. That's natural. But remember, you're not the one being exposed. They are. You're the one doing the exposing. After we hang up, I sit with my coffee and wait. 9 o'clock a.m. My laptop refreshes to the news sites. Breaking. Warren family civil suit filed. Adopted daughter seeks $183 million in stolen trust funds. And there it is. The complaint. All 47 pages of it. Available for public viewing because Robert filed it that way deliberately. Transparency. Let everyone see. I read it even though I already know what it contains. Seeing it in legal language, formal, precise, damning makes it different, more real. On or about May 15, 2002, defendants Joel Warren and Linda Warren became legal guardians of minor child Lena Brooks, age 5. Upon adoption, defendants were named executors of a trust fund established by Lena Brooks's biological parents, containing $600,000 in assets. Between 2002 and 24, defendants systematically misappropriated trust funds totaling page after page of transactions, dates, amounts, purposes. $47,000 transferred to pay for Damon Warren's private school tuition. $32,000 used to purchase vehicle for Sky Warren. $15,000 applied to family vacation in European countries. $50,000 withdrawn to pay legal fees for Damon Warren's DUI defense. Every line a theft. Every transaction a betrayal. The comment section on the news articles explodes. They spent her inheritance on their son's DUI lawyer. That's sick. Imagine stealing from an orphan and then calling her ungrateful. The receipts are damning. How do they explain this? This is why we need better oversight of trust funds. This poor girl. But not everyone is sympathetic. We're only hearing one side. Maybe the parents had reasons. Why is she making this public? Seems like she wants attention. 600 over 22 years isn't that much for a family. They gave her a home. I close my laptop. The opinions of strangers shouldn't matter, but they do. Each critical comment is a small wound. My phone rings. Unknown number. I've learned not to answer those. It rings again. Different number. And again. Media. All of them wanting my comment. My tears. My pain packaged for their audiences. I turn off my phone. The silence that follows is profound. No notifications. No buzzing. No demands for my attention. Just me and my coffee and the truth. Finally on record. 3 hours later, the Warren family responds. I've turned my phone back on by then, and Marissa sends me the link immediately. Joelle and Linda have called a press conference. Actual press conference, with podium and microphones and everything. They're standing outside their home, the house my money helped pay for, flanked by their attorney, Marcus Webb. Webb speaks first. He's silver-haired, distinguished. I need to him wearing a suit that costs more than my car. His voice carries the practiced calm of someone accustomed to defending the indefensible. My clients categorically deny the allegations in today's filing. The complaint contains numerous mischaracterizations and falsehoods. The Warren family welcomed Lena into their home with open hearts. They raised her as their own. They provided her with every opportunity they could. I almost laugh. Every opportunity. The freezing spare room. The community college while their children went to private universities. The hand-me-down clothes while Sky wore designer brands. Regarding the trust fund, Webb continues. My clients acted entirely within their legal rights as executors. All decisions regarding those funds were made in what they believed to be the best interests of the family unit as a whole, including Lena. The characterization of theft is inflammatory and legally inaccurate. Best interests of the family unit, a clever phrase that means nothing. Then Linda steps forward. She's wearing black, mourning colors. Her makeup is perfect. Her hair immaculate, her expression carefully composed into devastated mother. We are heartbroken. She begins, voice trembling just enough. We took Lena in when she had no one. We gave her our name, our home, our love. We traced her alongside our biological children. We never treated her differently. The lie is so bold, so complete, that I'm almost impressed. For her to do this to us, to drag our family through the mud, to destroy our reputation. Linda dabs at her eyes with a tissue. We can only conclude that our father-in-law has unduly influenced her. Elias was always different. Always had his own ideas about things. We believe he's been filling her head with lies, turning her against us. Joel steps up next. He looks older than I remember, the stress showing in the lines around his eyes. We've always known Lena struggled to fit in, he says. We tried everything. Therapy, family activities, one-on-one time. But she always kept herself apart, always watching, always judging. He shakes his head. Well, we thought it was just her personality. We accepted it. We loved her anyway. Loved her anyway. Like I was a defect they heroically tolerated. Now we see that she was waiting, biding her time, positioning herself to take everything we've worked for. Joel's voice hardens. Make no mistake. This is about money. This is about greed. This isn't justice. This is theft. The reporters shout questions. What about the documentation showing trust fund transfers to your children's expenses? Will you be countersuing? How do you respond to the cognitive assessment showing Mr. Warren is mentally competent? Webb steps back in. We will be filing our response to the civil suit, as well as pursuing additional legal remedies. We are also retaining expert witnesses to evaluate Mr. Warren's mental state. Our clients maintain that they acted appropriately and will prove this in court. No further questions at this time. They retreat into their house. The cameras linger on the closed door. I turn off the video and sit in silence. They're good. I have to admit that. Their narrative is polished, sympathetic, believable to those who don't know the full story. But truth has a weight that lies can't match, and the documents speak louder than their performances. My phone buzzes. Robert. Saw the press conference? Me too. They made a mistake. What mistake? They denied everything. Complete denial. Said they treated you the same as their biological children. I can hear him smiling through the phone. We have 22 years of receipts proving otherwise. Private school for Damon and Sky, community college for you. Designer clothes for them, hand-me-downs for you. Heated bedrooms for them, and broken vent for you. They just locked themselves into a lie we can demolish with evidence. Their lawyer seemed confident. Webb is good at appearances. He's less good at substance. The facts aren't on his side, and he knows it. That's why they went with the emotional appeal. Poor persecuted parents, ungrateful adopted daughter. It plays well on camera, but collapses in courtroom. What happens now? Now they have 30 days to respond to the complaint. Then discovery begins. That's when we request all their financial records, communications, everything. That's when their lies become perjury. Discovery. The word sounds ominous and promising at once. Robert, do you think they actually believe what they said? That they treated me well? Silence on the line. Then, I think people are remarkably good at believing their own stories. They've probably spent 22 years convincing themselves they were generous, that they were giving you opportunities you wouldn't have had otherwise. They've probably never examined their treatment of you critically because to do so would make them villains. And no one wants to be the villain in their own story. So they've lied to themselves so long they think it's true. Something like that. Doesn't make it okay. Just makes it human. A pause. Get some rest, Lena. More news will come. More attacks. More performances. But the legal process is on your side, facts are on your side, and most importantly, truth is on your side. After we hang up, I do something I haven't done in years. I call the only person from that house who ever made me feel seen. Hello? Elias's voice, warm and familiar. Grandfather. I saw their press conference. I saw it too. Quite a performance. I hear him settling into a chair. How are you holding up? I don't know. Angry. I thanked him. They lied so completely, so confidently. They've had practice. Do you think anyone believes them? Some people. The ones who want to. The ones who've never known that kind of betrayal. His voice softens. But more and more people are seeing through it. The documents don't lie, Lena. Numbers don't spin narratives. Bank transfers don't give emotional press conferences. I know. I spent so long believing them. Believing I was the problem. Believing I was too quiet, too distant, too ungrateful. And now they're saying it on national television, and part of me still wonders. Wonders what? If they're right, if I did something wrong, if I'm remembering it differently than it happened. Elias is quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice carries 22 years of observation. Lena, let me tell you what I saw. I saw a 5-year-old girl, terrified and grieving, arrive at a house of strangers. I saw that girl try desperately to fit in, to be good, to earn love that should have been given freely. I saw her work harder than any child should have to work, always striving to be worthy. And I saw that family, my family, to my shame, take her efforts for granted while celebrating their biological children's mediocrity. He takes a breath. I saw you get straight A's and receive indifference. I saw Damon barely pass his classes and receive praise for trying his best. I saw you win design awards and get no acknowledgement. I saw Sky post selfies and get parties. I saw you eat in your room while they laughed at the dinner table. I saw you wear clothes that didn't fit while Sky had closets full of the latest fashions. My eyes are wet now. So no, Lena. You are not remembering wrong. You are not the problem. You were a child they were supposed to protect, and instead they exploited you. That's not opinion, that's fact. And facts, as we're learning, have a way of coming to light. I don't know how to thank you, I whisper. Don't thank me, I should have spoken sooner. Should have acted sooner. This is 22 years overdue. His voice firms. But it's happening now. And what we do now is what matters. What do we do now? Now we wait. We let the legal process work. We let the evidence speak. We let their lies collapse under their own weight. A small laugh, and we have dinner. Tomorrow. You, me, Robert. We're going to celebrate truth, even if it's still in the process of winning. I'd like that. Good. My house, 7 o'clock. Mark will pick you up. After we hang up, I realize I'm smiling. Actually smiling. They held their press conference. They told their lies. They performed their grief. And I'm having dinner with my grandfather tomorrow to celebrate truth. Sometimes quiet victories are the loudest. That night I dream of water. Not violent water. No drowning, no storms, just rain. Steady, patient rain, falling on hard ground. At first, the ground resists. It's packed tight from years of drought, years of hardness. But the rain keeps falling, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, the ground begins to soften. The water finds cracks, seeps into spaces that seemed impenetrable. Transforms what was barren into something that can hold life. I wake with the image clear in my mind. Truth is like rain. It doesn't have to be violent to be transformative. It just has to be persistent. And we are nothing if not persistent. Discovery is a fascinating process. I learn this over the following weeks as Robert guides me through the legal labyrinth. In civil litigation, discovery is the phase where both sides must produce relevant documents, answer questions under oath, and reveal their evidence. It's designed to prevent surprise at trial, to ensure that truth has room to emerge. For people with nothing to hide, discovery is tedious but manageable. For people with everything to hide, discovery is a nightmare. The Warrens are living that nightmare. They're stalling for the Tendolds, Robert tells me during one of our weekly meetings. His conference room has become familiar. The mahogany table, the view of the bay, the stacks of documents growing higher each visit. Every request we make, they object. Every deadline, they request an extension. Classic delaying tactic. Can they do that? To a point. But judges don't like games. I've already filed 2 motions to compel production. Webb knows he's on thin ice. Robert slides a document across the table. But we did get this. I look at it. Bank statements. Years of them. Their financial records. Took 3 court orders, but we got them. I scan the pages. Numbers swim before my eyes until patterns emerge. See this? Robert points to a highlighted line. May 2008. Transfer of $25,000 to Elite Academy Preparatory School. That's Damon's high school tuition payment. He flips pages. Here. September 2010, $18,000 to Mercedes-Benz of Miami. Sky's first car. More pages. December 2012, $45,000 to Four Seasons Resort Maui. Family vacation. Notice how these withdrawals come from the account that was supposed to be your trust fund. I stare at the numbers. Each one is a knife, but the pain has dulled. I've seen too much now to be freshly wounded. What's interesting, Robert continues, is what we don't see. No college payments for you, no vehicle purchases, no vacation expenses with your name attached. Every withdrawal either directly benefits Dame and Sky or Joel and Linda themselves. The fund that was supposed to secure your future was systematically drained for their present. How do they explain this? Robert smiles grimly. They claim these were family expenses that benefited you equally. They say you enjoyed the vacation even though we have no record of you being there. They say you had access to the cars even though both were titled to Sky and Damon exclusively. They say you benefited from your siblings' education because it elevated the family's status. The absurdity of it almost makes me laugh. Do they actually expect a judge to believe that? They expect to muddy the waters enough that the judge gets confused. That's Webb's strategy. Create enough smoke that no one can see the fire. Robert leans back. But we have something they don't have. What? Your actual receipts. Your bank statements. Your tax returns showing part-time employment throughout college. Your student loan documents. Your payment records for that community college they're claiming was equal opportunity. He taps a folder. We have proof that while they spent your inheritance on luxury, you were working 3 jobs to afford textbooks. The contrast is stark when laid out in black and white. There's something else, Robert says. Something that came out in their discovery responses. He slides another paper over. It's an email, dated 2015, from Joel to Linda. We need to talk about Lena's trust. It's nearly depleted. What do we say if she asks about it after graduation? We need a story. Linda's response: she won't ask. She's never asked. She believes we gave her everything. Just keep reinforcing that we sacrificed so much to give her this life. Guilt is a powerful silencer. I read it twice. 3 times. They knew, I whisper. They knew what they were doing. They planned their lies. Documented evidence of intent to defraud. Robert's voice is steady, but I can hear the satisfaction beneath. This isn't mismanagement or poor judgment. This is deliberate, premeditated theft with coordinated cover-up. That email alone is worth millions in punitive damages. My hands shake slightly as I set down the paper. How do they explain this? They can't. Not really. Webb's official response was that the email was taken out of context and that they were discussing how to explain financial decisions made in good faith. But the language is clear. What do we say? And we need a story. Those aren't the words of innocent people. I sit with this revelation. All those years of being told I was ungrateful, that they had given me so much, that I should appreciate my opportunities. It was calculated. They knew they were robbing me. They knew they were lying. And they carefully crafted a narrative to keep me silent. Lena, Robert says gently, I know this is difficult. Seeing the premeditation makes it worse somehow. It does. But it also makes our case stronger. This isn't just breach of fiduciary duty anymore. This is fraud with malicious intent. That changes everything. Damages, potential criminal charges, everything. What about grandfather's case? The will challenge? Robert's expression shifts to something like triumph. Funny you should ask. Their motion to freeze assets was denied last week. The judge reviewed our 3 psychiatric assessments against their speculation and ruled that there was no credible evidence of cognitive impairment. Their challenge to the will has to proceed without asset freeze, which means the estate continues to be managed as Elias intended. So I'm still the heir. Still the sole beneficiary, yes. They can continue their challenge, but it's weakened significantly. Without the freeze, they can't claim emergency circumstances. It becomes a standard will contest, which are notoriously difficult to win when the testator is alive and demonstrably competent. Something loosens in my chest. One battle won. There's more news, Robert says. The district attorney's office has officially opened a criminal investigation into the trust fund misappropriation. I look up sharply. Criminal, as in jail. Potentially. Embezzlement of this magnitude is a felony in Florida. If they're charged and convicted, Joel and Linda could face prison time. Damon and Sky could be implicated as beneficiaries who knowingly received stolen funds. Prison. The word hangs heavy. I don't know if I want that, I say, echoing my words from weeks ago. You may not have a choice. The criminal case is separate from your civil suit. The DA makes their own decisions based on evidence. And that email... Robert shakes his head. That email is damning. I think about Joel in a prison uniform, Linda behind bars. The image doesn't bring satisfaction, just a hollow ache. Can I ask you something? I say. Of course. When this is over, the lawsuit, the criminal investigation, all of it, what happens to them, realistically? Robert considers the question carefully. Financially, they'll be destroyed. The civil judgment alone will likely exceed their liquid assets. They'll have to sell the house, probably file bankruptcy. Joel's business reputation is already damaged. Clients are distancing themselves. Linda's social circle is evaporating. Sky's influencer career is collapsing. She's lost most of her brand deals. And Damon? Damon's DUI and his public outbursts have made him unemployable in most professional settings. He's been living off family money, and that well is drying up. The Warren family empire crumbling. Does that make me a bad person? I ask. That I'm the cause of their destruction? Robert's response is immediate and firm. You're not the cause. You're the catalyst for truth. Their destruction is the consequence of their own actions over 22 years. You didn't steal their money. You didn't lie and manipulate. You didn't abuse an orphaned child. They did. You're simply the person who finally said enough. It doesn't feel that simple. It rarely does. He closes the folder. But justice often doesn't feel good. It just feels necessary. And this, what we're doing, is necessary. Not just for you, but for every adopted child whose trust was mismanaged. For every orphan who was exploited by the people sworn to protect them. For every person told they were ungrateful while being systematically robbed. I think about my foundation plans, the scholarships, the legal aid, the purpose that's taking shape from this pain. You're right, I say finally. It is necessary. Good. Robert stands. Now, there's one more thing. Something I've been debating whether to tell you. What? Sky reached out to me. Personally, not through web. She wants to meet with you. My stomach tightens. Why? She says she wants to clear the air and find a resolution that works for everyone. Her words, not mine. Do you believe her? I believe she's scared. I believe her influencer career is dying and she's desperate. I believe she sees the writing on the wall and wants to save herself. He meets my eyes. I don't believe she's sorry for what they did to you. I believe she's sorry it's becoming public. Should I meet with her? That's entirely your decision. Legally, I'd advise having me present if you do. Emotionally, he shrugs. Only you know if you need that conversation. Do I? Do I need to see Sky? To hear whatever justifications she's concocted? To witness her fear up close? Can I think about it? Of course. She's not going anywhere. I think about it that night, in my apartment that suddenly feels smaller than usual. Sky. My sister, who never felt like a sister. The girl who grew up in the room above mine. Who had everything I didn't. Who filmed my humiliation for content. What would I even say to her? I look at my foundation notes, now filling 2 notebooks. Programs taking shape. Lives I could help. Purpose crystallizing from pain. Maybe that's my answer. I pick up my phone and text Robert. I'll meet with Sky, but on my terms, my choice of location. You present, and she has to come alone. His response is quick. Smart, I'll arrange it. Proud of you, Lena. This takes courage. Courage? Or maybe just the need for closure. Either way, it's time to face her. We meet at a coffee shop in Wynwood. Not Sky's choice, mine. I choose deliberately. A small, quiet place that doesn't scream wealth. Local art on the walls, mismatched furniture, the smell of honest coffee beans. A place where money doesn't matter and authenticity does. She's already there when I arrive. Robert beside me like a steady shadow. I barely recognize her. The Sky I knew, or thought I knew, was all polish and performance. Perfect makeup, perfect hair. Perfect outfit chosen for maximum Instagram impact. Every gesture calculated, every expression curated for her audience. This Sky looks smaller. Her makeup is minimal, her hair pulled back simply. She's wearing jeans, actual jeans, not designer ones meant to look like jeans. Her phone is nowhere in sight. She stands when she sees me. Her mouth opens, closes. Lena. Sky. We sit. Robert takes a chair slightly apart, present but not intrusive. Silence stretches between us like the years themselves. Thank you for agreeing to meet, Sky finally says. Her voice is different too, less performance, more person. I wasn't going to. I know. I wouldn't have blamed you. The barista comes. We order. Coffee for me, tea for her. Robert gets nothing, just watches. When the drinks arrive, Sky wraps her hands around her cup like she's cold. I don't know where to start, she admits. Try the truth. It's a novel concept for our family. She winces. I deserve that. You deserve more than that. Silence again. She stares into her tea like it holds answers. I've been losing followers, she finally says. Not just losing, hemorrhaging. 100,000 in the last 2 weeks. Brands are dropping me. My agents stopped returning calls. I'm not interested in your career problems. I know that's not... She stops, takes a breath. I'm saying it wrong. I'm trying to explain how I got here. Why I'm sitting across from you. Because you're desperate. Yes, the admission is stark. I'm desperate, but not just because of my career. Because I've been forced to look at myself for the first time in years, and I don't like what I see. I wait. Let her keep talking. When Robert sent over those documents during discovery, the bank statements, the emails, the evidence of what Mom and Dad did with your trust fund, I told myself I didn't know, that I was just a kid, that I couldn't have known. But I did know, on some level. I knew you were different. I knew they treated you different. I knew you wore my old clothes while I got new ones. I knew you ate leftovers while I got fresh meals. I knew you worked yourself ragged through college while I partied. She meets my eyes. I knew, Lena. I just didn't care enough to question it. The honesty surprises me. I expected deflections, justifications, not this. Why didn't you care? Because caring would have meant giving things up. If I acknowledged that your money paid for my car, my education, my lifestyle, then I'd have to feel guilty. I'd have to share. I'd have to see you as equal. She looks down. It was easier to believe what they told us, that you were ungrateful, that we were generous to take you in, that you were lucky to have us. I was never lucky to have you. I know that now. Her voice cracks. I know that every birthday party I had was funded by an orphan's inheritance. I know that every vacation I enjoyed was stolen from a grieving child. I know that my entire life, the one I performed so carefully for my followers, was built on theft. Robert shifts in his seat, but says nothing. The video, Sky continues, the one I posted after the restaurant, I watched it back last night. Watched myself cry and perform and lie. I called you manipulative. I called grandfather senile. I made myself the victim. She shakes her head. I've spent so long performing that I forgot how to be real. That video wasn't me trying to protect family. It was me trying to protect my bandbadtidibtas, my image, my lies. So why are you here now? Because I don't want to be that person anymore. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a single sheet of paper. I wrote this. For you. For the lawyers. For whoever needs to see it. She slides it across the table. I read. I, Skye Warren, acknowledge that my parents, Joel and Linda Warren, misappropriated funds from the trust established for my adopted sister, Lena Brooks. I acknowledge that I was aware of the disparity in our treatment and chose to ignore it. I acknowledge that I benefited directly from stolen funds, including but not limited to educational expenses, vehicle purchases, vacations, and lifestyle costs. I do not claim ignorance, I do not claim innocence, I claim only responsibility for my silence and complicity. It's signed, notarized. I look up at her. This is an admission of knowledge. This could be used against you in the criminal investigation. I know. Your lawyer would tell you this is insane. My lawyer did tell me that. Webb nearly had a heart attack. She almost smiles. But I'm tired, Lena. Tired of performing. Tired of lying. Tired of being someone I hate. If telling the truth costs me everything, then maybe everything I had wasn't worth having. I study her face, looking for the angle, the manipulation, the performance. I find only exhaustion and what might be genuine remorse. Why now? I ask. Because I saw myself through the world's eyes, and I finally saw what you must have seen all along. She leans forward. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm not asking you to drop the lawsuit. You shouldn't. I'm not asking for mercy or understanding or reconciliation. I'm just asking you to know that I see it now. I see what we did. I see who I was. And I'm sorry. Not sorry it's becoming public. Sorry it happened at all. Robert clears his throat. Skye, I need to advise you that anything you say, I know, Robert. I know the legal implications. I don't care. She turns back to me. I can't fix the past. I can't give you back your childhood. I can't undo the theft or the lies or the cruelty, but I can't stop pretending it didn't happen. And I can try to be different going forward. I look at the paper in my hands. Her admission. Her truth. What about Damon? Your parents? Her expression darkens. Damon is still in denial. He's convinced himself he's the victim. Mom and Dad are circling the wagons, preparing for war. She pauses. I tried to talk to them. After I realized, I tried to tell them we should just admit everything, pay you back, try to make it right. They called me a traitor. Are you? A traitor? To them, yes. To their version of the story. She meets my eyes. But I'd rather be a traitor to lies than loyal to cruelty. We sit in silence. The coffee shop hums around us. Someone laughs at another table. Music plays softly. Normal life continuing while ours fractures and reforms. I don't forgive you, I finally say. I don't expect you to. I don't know if I ever will. That's fair. But I look at the admission. This matters. This truth, right here, matters. Skye nods, tears finally falling. I know it doesn't fix anything. I know words are cheap, but it's what I have right now. Words and truth and this small piece of paper that might cost me my freedom. You're really willing to face criminal charges? If that's the price of honesty, yes. She wipes her eyes. I've paid for everything with your money my whole life. Maybe it's time I paid with my own currency. Robert speaks up. Sky, before you leave, I need you to understand something. This admission will be entered into evidence. It will likely be shared with the DA's office. Your parents' lawyers will see it as betrayal. I know. You'll be called to testify against your own parents. I know. This will permanently fracture your family. Sky laughs, a sad, hollow sound. Robert, our family has been fractured for 22 years. We just finally stopped pretending it wasn't. She stands, leaving her admission on the table. Lena, for what it's worth, and I know it's worth very little, I admired you. Even when I was being cruel. Even when I was complicit in your abuse. Part of me admired how you survived. How you kept your dignity when we tried so hard to strip it from you. How you stayed kind when we gave you every reason to be bitter. She picks up her purse. You're the strongest person I know. And I'm sorry it took me 25 years to see it. She walks out of the coffee shop, smaller than when she entered. Robert and I sit in the wake of her departure. Well, he says finally. That was unexpected. Yes. Do you believe her? I think about her face, her tears, the admission that could send her to prison. I think I do. What do you want to do with this? He gestures to the paper. I look at it. Her handwriting, her signature, her truth. Will we use it? Like she intended. The truth matters, even when it's expensive. Robert nods slowly. You know this changes things. With her admission, the criminal case against your parents strengthens significantly, and Damon's denial will look even worse in contrast. I know. Are you okay with that? Am I? My adoptive mother and father potentially facing prison. My adoptive brother's denial becoming public collapse. My adoptive sister's remorse costing her everything. I didn't start this, I say finally. They did, 22 years ago, when they saw an orphan's trust fund and decided they deserved it more than she did. Everything that follows is consequence, not revenge. That's a wise distinction. I finish my coffee. It's gone cold, but I drink it anyway. Robert, I want to move forward with everything. The civil suit, the criminal referral, all of it. Not because I want to destroy them, but because truth deserves to be heard. Because every adopted child whose trust was stolen deserves to know this happens and justice is possible. Because the Warrens aren't unique. They're just the ones getting caught. Understood. He stands. I'll file Sky's admission with the court tomorrow, and I'll send it to the DA as she intended. We leave the coffee shop. Outside, Miami shimmers in the afternoon heat. Palm trees sway. Life continues. Lena, Robert says as we reach the cars. You handled that with remarkable grace. I learned from my grandfather. You learned from yourself too. Don't diminish that. I drive home in silence. Sky's admission on the seat beside me like a small bomb of truth. That night, I add another page to my foundation notes. Programs for siblings of foster adopted children, helping them understand impact and responsibility. Because maybe, just maybe, if someone had helped Sky see earlier, if someone had named the injustice before it calcified into complicity, things might have been different. Or maybe not. But the maybe matters. 3 days later, the news breaks. Sky Warren's admission goes public. The internet explodes. She loses the rest of her followers. The last brands drop her. Her parents issue a statement calling her mentally unstable and disloyal. But something else happens too. People start to listen. Really listen. Because when the villain admits she was the villain, the hero becomes undeniable. And I never wanted to be a hero. I just wanted to be seen. Finally, I am. The morning of the hearing, I wear my mother's necklace. Not Linda. My real mother. The one who died when I was 5, leaving behind a trust fund and a daughter she'd never see grow up. The necklace is simple. A small gold locket on a thin chain. Inside is a photo I don't remember. Me at 3, sitting on her lap, both of us laughing at something beyond the camera's frame. It's the only photo I have of us together. Social services gave it to me when I was adopted. Joel and Linda never asked about it, never asked about her at all. I clasp it around my neck and look in the mirror. 27 years old. Brown eyes that see clearly, spine straight, dignity intact. Ready? I ask my reflection. She doesn't answer, but she doesn't look away either. The courthouse is downtown Miami, an imposing structure of concrete and justice that's seen 1,000 truths told and 1,000 lies exposed. I arrive with Robert, Marissa trailing behind with her crisis management instincts on high alert. "Media's heavy today," Marissa murmurs. The Sky admission really amplified interest. Every major outlet is here. I see them. Cameras, microphones, reporters positioned like vultures waiting for carrion. They spot me immediately. "Lena, over here. Miss Brooks, any comment?" "How do you feel about facing your family in court?" Robert guides me past them with practiced efficiency. "No comment at this time. Miss Brooks will let the legal process speak for itself." We enter the courthouse, and the noise fades to a hum. Inside, it's all marble floors and hushed voices. The weight of law presses down from every surface. This is where truth is supposed to matter. Where evidence speaks louder than emotion. Where justice isn't just a concept, but a process. We're in courtroom 4B, Civil Division. Judge Patricia Moreno presiding. The hearing today isn't the trial itself. That's months away. Today is about motions, preliminary matters, setting the stage. But it's also the first time I'll see them. All of them. In the same room. Under the eyes of the law. Robert and I take our seats at the plaintiff's table. The courtroom is already filling. Reporters in the gallery. Legal observers. The curious public. Sky's admission made this case famous. Everyone wants to see the family that robbed an orphan. Then they enter. Joel first, looking older than I've ever seen him. His suit is expensive but can't hide the weight he's lost. The grey that's spread. The defeat in his posture. Behind him, Linda. Makeup perfect, but eyes hollow. She's dressed in conservative black, still performing widow of her own reputation. And Damon. My breath catches. He looks terrible. Unshaven, red-eyed, something wild in his expression. His suit is wrinkled, his tie askew. This is not the polished golden boy from the restaurant. This is someone unraveling. Marcus Webb accompanies them, looking as slick as ever. But even he seems tense. They take their seats at the defendant's table. For a moment, Joel's eyes meet mine across the aisle. I see rage there, and fear. And something that might be shame, buried deep. I don't look away. Neither does he. All rise, the bailiff calls, the Honorable Judge Patricia Moreno presiding. We stand as the judge enters. She's in her 50s, silver-haired, with the kind of face that suggests she's heard every lie and seen through each one. Please be seated. Her voice is calm, authoritative. We're here today for preliminary motions in the matter of Brooks versus Warren. I've reviewed the filings from both parties. Let's begin. What follows is legal theatre at its finest. Webb argues first, moving to dismiss several claims as inflammatory and lacking sufficient evidence. His voice is smooth, practiced, but even I can hear the strain beneath. Your Honor, the plaintiff's allegations rest on circumstantial interpretations of financial transactions that my clients made as legal executors of a trust. There is no evidence of criminal intent. Counselor, Judge Moreno interrupts. I've seen the email. The one where your clients discuss needing a story to explain the depleted trust. That seems like evidence of intent to me. Webb falters, just slightly. That email has been taken out of context, Your Honor. My clients were discussing how to explain complex financial decisions to a young person who might not understand. They were discussing how to lie, Mr. Webb. The plain language is clear. Webb tries another angle. Your Honor, we also move to exclude the statement provided by Skye Warren as it was obtained without proper legal counsel. Miss, Warren provided that statement voluntarily, signed and notarized, with full knowledge of its implications. Robert interjects. She specifically wanted it entered into evidence. Excluding it would be suppressing relevant testimony. Judge Moreno nods. Motion to exclude denied. The statement is admissible. I see Damon's hands clench on the table. His face is red, jaw tight. The proceedings continue. Motions argued. Evidence discussed. The skeleton of the case revealed in legal terminology. Through it all, I sit quietly, watching, waiting. Then comes the moment I've been dreading and anticipating in equal measure. Your Honor, Robert says, standing, we'd like to address the matter of the witness list. As you know, Elias Warren, the plaintiff's grandfather, is prepared to testify regarding his observations of the defendant's treatment of Mr. Brooks over 22 years. Webb leaps up. Your Honor, we object. Mr. Warren's mental competency is still in question. Is it? Judge Moreno's eyebrow rises. I have 3 independent psychiatric evaluations in my file stating Mr. Warren is of sound mind. Your motion to freeze assets based on incompetency was denied. Unless you have new evidence. We're arranging for our own expert evaluation. You've had 2 months, Counselor. Time is up. She makes a note. Mr. Warren's testimony will be permitted. Continue, Mr. Chanadad. Robert nods. Additionally, we're calling several character witnesses who can speak to the disparity in treatment between Miss Brooks and her adoptive siblings. Teachers, neighbors, college classmates. Your Honor, Webb interrupts again. This is character assassination, irrelevant to the financial claims, relevant to establishing pattern of behavior and intent. Roberto counters. If the defendants treated Miss Brooks as lesser than for 22 years, it supports our claim that the misappropriation was deliberate exploitation, not mismanagement. Judge Moreno considers. I'll allow it. The testimony goes to state of mind. Damon suddenly stands. This is ridiculous. The courtroom freezes. Mr. Warren, Judge Moreno's voice sharpens. You will remain seated and silent unless addressed. But she's lying. Damon points at me, his finger shaking. She's been lying this whole time. We gave her everything. Mr. Warren, sit down immediately or I will hold you in contempt. Webb grabs Damon's arm, pulling him down, whispered urgent words. Damon's face is contorted with rage, but he sits. The outburst echoes in the silent courtroom. Judge Moreno makes a note. Let the record show that defendant Damon Warren required admonishment for courtroom disruption. I feel the eyes of the gallery on us, on him, on the contrast between his outburst and my silence. The hearing continues, but Damon's outburst hangs in the air like smoke. 2 hours later, the preliminary matters are concluded. Judge Moreno summarizes. Trial is set for March 15th. All evidence must be submitted by February 1st. Any additional motions are due by January 15th. She looks at both tables. I encourage both parties to consider settlement. Trials are expensive, lengthy, and unpredictable. Sometimes justice is better served through resolution than combat. She stands, we all rise. Court is adjourned. As she exits, the courtroom erupts into controlled chaos. Reporters dash out to file stories. Lawyers gather papers. The public buzzes with whispered commentary. I remain seated, processing. Lena, Robert's voice is gentle. We should go. The press will want a statement. I don't have a statement. That's fine. Silence is still your strongest play. I stand, gathering my things. Across the aisle, Joel is in heated, whispered conversation with Webb. Linda is crying quietly. Damon is staring at the table, hands still clenched. As I turn to leave, Linda suddenly looks up. Our eyes meet. Lena. Her voice cracks. Please, can we talk? Robert tenses beside me. Any communication should go through attorneys. Just a moment, Linda pleads. Mother to daughter, please. I should say no. Every rational instinct says no. 2 minutes, I hear myself say. Robert looks concerned, but steps back slightly. Still within earshot, Linda approaches. Up close, I see how much she's aged. The stress, the public scrutiny, the crumbling of everything she built on lies. It's written in every line of her face. I never meant for it to go this far, she whispers. What did you mean for, Linda? She flinches at her name. Not Mom. Never again, Mom. When we first took you in, we did have good intentions. I need you to believe that. Good intentions that included stealing my inheritance? It wasn't stealing. Not at first. We just borrowed. We thought we'd pay it back. But then Damon needed school fees, and Sky needed her car, and the money was just sitting there. Sitting there for me. I know that now. But at the time, we told ourselves we were being practical, that you were getting a family, a home, love, things worth more than money. Love? The word comes out sharper than I intend. You call what you gave me love. We provided for you. You provided leftovers while your children had feasts. You provided a freezing room while they had heated wings. You provided community college while they had private universities. I feel my voice rising and force it back to calm. You provided the minimum while spending my maximum. That's not love, Linda. That's exploitation. Her tears fall freely now. We didn't see it that way. We didn't. You did see it. That email proves it. We need a story. You knew exactly what you were doing. You just didn't think you'd get caught. She reaches for my hand. I step back. Lena, please. You have to understand. I understand perfectly. I look at her, really look at her, and realize I feel nothing. Not anger, not hatred, not even pity, just emptiness. I understand that you saw an orphan with money and decided you deserved it more than she did. I understand that you spent 22 years convincing that orphan she was lucky to have scraps. I understand that when your father-in-law tried to right the wrong, you called him senile. I understand everything, Linda. That's why we're here. We can make this right. We can pay you back. Can you give me back my childhood? Can you give me back the education I should have had? Can you give me back the years of believing I was less than? I shake my head. Some things can't be bought back, Linda. Some damage is permanent. She's sobbing now. Joel approaches, face hard. That's enough, Linda. Come on. He doesn't look at me. Can't look at me. As they turn to leave, Damon suddenly breaks from Webb and strides toward me. His eyes are wild. You think you've won? His voice is low, dangerous. You think this changes anything? You're still just an adopted nobody. No amount of grandfather's money changes what you are. Robert steps between us. Mr. Warren, I strongly advise you to... What? What will you do? Sue me? You're already destroying my life. What's left? Damon laughs, but there's no humor in it. Enjoy the money, Lena. Enjoy being the world's biggest victim. But know this. Blood is blood. You'll never be a real Warren. You'll never be family. You'll just be the orphan who got lucky. He storms past, shoving through the courtroom doors. The silence he leaves behind is deafening. Webb approaches, looking exhausted. I apologize for my client's outburst. Mr. Warren is under considerable stress. Save it for the judge, Webb. Robert cuts in. Your client just threatened my client in open court. I'll be filing for a restraining order. Webb pales. That's not necessary. It's very necessary. And it's happening. Webb retreats, gathering the remaining Warrens and ushering them out a side door to avoid the press. I stand in the emptying courtroom, my mother's locket warm against my skin. Lena. Robert's voice is soft. That was handled beautifully. You maintained dignity while they lost their shit. It doesn't feel like winning. Justice rarely does. We exit through the main doors, where the press is waiting. Cameras flash. Questions shout. Miss Brooks, how do you feel about the hearing? Any response to your brother's outburst? Will you settle or go to trial? Robert steps to a microphone. Miss Brooks is grateful for the judge's careful attention to this matter. She trusts in the legal process and looks forward to the truth being fully heard at trial. She has no further comment at this time. We walk to the car, press trailing. I don't look back. That night, I have dinner with Elias. His house in Coconut Grove is quiet, peaceful, a sanctuary from the storm. I heard about Damon's outburst, he says, pouring wine. News travels fast. Especially news of your own grandson's disgrace. He sighs. I failed him, Lena. Failed all of them. Gave them money without teaching them its meaning. Gave them privilege without instilling responsibility. Gave them everything except character. That's not entirely your fault. No, but it's partly mine. I saw Joel raising them poorly and said nothing. I saw their entitlement growing and ignored it. I hoped they'd learn. They didn't. He sips his wine. You, though. You learned everything I never taught them. Through struggle, yes. Through suffering. But you learned. Is that supposed to make the suffering worth it? Nothing makes suffering worth it. But sometimes suffering produces people worth knowing. He raises his glass. To you, Lena. To your strength. To your grace under fire. We clink glasses. The trial is in March, I say. I know. I'll be there. Every day if necessary. They'll attack you. Call you senile again. Let them. I have 3 psychiatric reports and 84 years of sharp wit on my side. He smiles. Besides, I rather enjoy proving people wrong at my age. Not many pleasures left. I laugh, actually laugh, for the first time in what feels like weeks. Lena, Elias says, serious again. Whatever happens at trial, whatever the outcome, I want you to know something. You've already won. How? You've won because you survive with your soul intact. You've won because you refuse to become bitter. You've won because you're using this pain to build something beautiful. Your foundation, your future, your purpose. He reaches across the table and takes my hand. Money comes and goes. Verdicts are appealed. Headlines fade, but character is forever. And yours is impeccable. My eyes sting with tears I don't try to hide. Grandfather, I don't know what I'd do without you. You'd survive. You always have. He squeezes my hand. But I'm glad you don't have to anymore. We finish dinner, talking about the foundation. I show him my plans, my notebooks full of ideas. He offers suggestions, connections, resources. For the first time, I see my vision becoming real. As I leave that night, the stars bright over Coconut Grove, I feel something settling in my chest. Peace, maybe. Or perhaps its purpose finding its home. Either way, I carry it with me into the night. The trial looms, but so does justice. And justice, I'm learning, is patient. 3 weeks before trial, Damon breaks. Not the controlled outbursts we've seen. Not the courtroom disruptions or the angry social media posts or the desperate interviews. This is something different. Something darker. I'm at home, working on foundation logistics with a non-profit consultant I've hired, when Robert calls. Turn on the news. Channel 7. Now. I do. The screen fills with red and blue lights. Police cars. An ambulance. Yellow tape. A house I recognize immediately. Joel and Linda's house. The house I grew up in. The house my money built. Apparent mental health crisis, the reporter is saying. We're told that Damon Warren, 29, was taken into custody after allegedly threatening family members with a firearm. No shots were fired, but I sink onto my couch. Neighbors reported hearing screaming around 11 p.m. Police arrived to find Warren barricaded in his bedroom with a handgun. After a 3-hour standoff, he surrendered peacefully and was transported to Jackson Memorial Hospital for psychiatric evaluation. Robert's voice in my ear. Lena, you there? I'm here. I just got off the phone with the DA. This changes things. How? Damon's mental state was already questionable after the courthouse incident. Now he's had a complete breakdown. Their defense strategy relied heavily on him testifying that the family treated you well. That's off the table now. I watched the screen. Officers leading a stretcher with Damon strapped down. His face blank, medicated already. There's more, Robert continues. During the standoff, apparently he was confessing to his parents about everything. The cops recorded it all. Confessing what? That he knew about the trust fund theft. That he'd known for years. That he'd deliberately made your life harder because he was jealous. That he'd encouraged his parents to spend your money faster. Robert pauses. He was having a complete psychological breakdown, but he was telling the truth. Finally. I don't know how to feel. Relief that truth emerged. Sadness at his destruction. Both. Neither. Webb is going to try to suppress the recordings, Robert says. Mental duress, expectation of privacy, all that. But Lena, if even part of this comes out at trial, they're done. They were already done. This is just the final nail. We hang up. I turn off the TV and sit in silence. Damon, the golden boy, the favorite son, the one who told me I didn't belong, now strapped to a gurney, mind fractured under the weight of his own guilt. I should feel vindicated. I don't. I feel something closer to morning. The next morning, my phone rings with an unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me. Lena, a voice I recognize, but can't quite place. Yes? It's Marcus, your grandfather's driver. My blood runs cold. What's wrong, Het? You need to come, now. The hospital. It's Elias. I don't remember the drive. Just flashes, red lights, my hands shaking on the wheel, prayers to a God I've never fully believed in. The hospital is chaos. I find Marcus in the waiting room, his face grave. What happened? Collapsed this morning. Heart. They're working on him now. Is he critical? That's all they'll say. I sink into a plastic chair. The world tilts. Not him. Not now. Not after everything. Robert arrives 20 minutes later, having received the same call. He sits beside me, silent, solid. Hours pass. Doctors come and go. Medical jargon I don't understand. Cardiac event. Stabilizing. Door, touch and go. Finally, Dr. Patel emerges looking exhausted. Family of Elias Warren? I stand on shaking legs. I'm his granddaughter. We've stabilized him. It was a significant heart attack. But he's conscious, fighting, a tired smile. He's asking for you. Robert squeezes my shoulder. Go. The cardiac unit is quiet, all beeps and hums and antiseptic determination. Elias lies in the bed, looking smaller than I've ever seen him. Tubes and wires connect him to machines that monitor his stubborn heart. But his eyes are still sharp. Lena. His voice is weak but warm. I take his hand, tears falling. You scared me. Scared myself, truth be told, Dot. He tries to smile. Hot, decided to have an opinion about all this stress. 84 years of working fine, chooses now to protest. The trial is in 3 weeks. You need to rest. Rest is for people who finished their work. He squeezes my hand with surprising strength. I've got testimony to give. Grandfather, listen to me. His eyes intensify. I didn't survive 84 years to miss the ending of this story. That courtroom needs to hear from me. Needs to hear the truth from someone who watched it for 22 years. He coughs slightly. Besides, imagine their faces when the supposedly senile old man outlasts their expectations again. I laugh through my tears. Dr. Patel says you need to take it easy. Dr. Patel can join the list of people I've disappointed by not dying on schedule. He softens. Lena, I'm not going anywhere. Not until this is done. Not until you're free of them. Not until justice is served. He touches my face gently. You've given me reason to fight. First time in years, I've had something worth fighting for. Don't take that away from me. I'm not taking anything away. I just want you to live. Then let me live with purpose. Let me testify. Let me tell the world what they did to you. His eyes glisten. Let me make this one thing right before I go. Don't talk about going. We all go eventually, child. The question is whether we go with our debts paid. He leans back into the pillows. Mine is almost paid. Just need that courtroom moment. We sit in silence, his heart monitor beeping steadily. The trial might be postponed, I say. Given Damon's breakdown, your health. Don't postpone. Every day this drags on is another day of pain for you. Push for the trial. I'll be there if I have to roll in on this hospital bed. I squeeze his hand. Stubborn old man. Where do you think you got your spine from? Certainly not from Joel. Another tired laugh. A nurse comes in, checking monitors. He needs to rest now. I'll go. I stand, then lean down to kiss his forehead. I love you, grandfather. Love you too, granddaughter. More than you know. I leave him to rest, but I don't go home. I sit in the waiting room with Robert, planning, preparing, refusing to let this moment break me. The trial will happen. The truth will be heard. And Elias will have his moment, because some debts can only be paid with truth. The next 2 weeks are a blur. Damon remains in psychiatric hold. His mental health evaluation reveals deep-seated guilt, narcissistic personality disorder, and a complete psychological collapse under the weight of his actions. He's deemed unfit to testify. Joel and Linda, stripped of their most sympathetic witness and faced with the mounting evidence, make one last desperate move. Webb calls Robert. They want to settle. Robert tells me this in his office, the day before jury selection is set to begin. Settle? I repeat. They're offering 900,000, full admission of misappropriation, no criminal charges pursued. 900,000? My trust was $600,000. With interest, it's $183 million, and that's just the civil suit. It doesn't touch grandfather's will. I know. I told Webb it was insulting. What did he say? That it's all they have liquid. They'd have to mortgage the house, drain retirement accounts, sell assets. It would wipe them out financially. I sit with this. If I accept, what happens to the criminal case? That's separate. DA might still pursue charges, though it's less likely without you pushing. Your cooperation has been key to their investigation. And grandfather's will? Untouched. They've effectively abandoned that challenge, given the psychiatric assessments and Damon's breakdown. So the settlement would give me money, less than I'm owed. But money. It would end the civil case. It would possibly spare them prison. It would end the public spectacle. But it wouldn't give me the trial. Wouldn't give me grandfather's testimony. Wouldn't give the world the full truth on legal record. What do you think? I ask Robert. He's quiet for a long moment. I think you've already won everything that matters. The truth is known. Your integrity is proven. Your grandfather's will stands. Your foundation plans are solid. He meets my eyes. The question is, what do you need? Do you need the trial? Do you need them destroyed? Or do you need to move on, sir? I think about Elias in his hospital bed. About his weak heart fighting to get him to that courtroom. About Damon strapped to a gurney. About Linda's hollow eyes. About Joel's aged face. And I think about my foundation. About the foster kids I could help now, immediately with settlement money. About the scholarships I could fund, about the legal aid I could provide. Every day in court is a day not spent building. I need one thing, I say finally. What's that? A public statement. Full admission. Not just settling quietly. They have to publicly acknowledge what they did, as on record, or in writing, released to media. Robert's eyebrows rise. That's unusual in a settlement. It's my condition. I don't need them in prison. I don't need their last dollar. But I need the truth official. I need other families to see this and know that exploitation has consequences. I need other adopted children to know they're not crazy when they feel less than. You want accountability more than punishment? Yes. Robert nods slowly. That's remarkably mature. And remarkably devastating for them. A public admission of guilt is almost worse than a trial. They'll have to live with it forever. Then let's see if they'll agree. They agree. The settlement is finalized a week later. $1.2 million. They came up from their initial offer when faced with my condition. Full restitution plus damages. But the real victory is the statement. Robert reads it to me before it goes public. We, Joel and Linda Warren, acknowledge that we misappropriated trust funds belonging to our adopted daughter, Lena Brooks. Over a period of 22 years, we used money intended for her education and future to fund our biological children's expenses and our family's lifestyle. We acknowledge that we treated Lena differently than our biological children, providing her with fewer resources and opportunities. We acknowledge that these actions were wrong, harmful, and a betrayal of the trust placed in us as her adoptive parents and as executors of her inheritance. We apologize to Lina, to the memory of her biological parents, and to the public for our conduct. We accept full responsibility for our actions and the consequences that follow. Signed, notarized, released. The day it goes public, Elias calls me from his hospital room. I saw it. They admitted everything. They did. How do you feel? I consider the question. How do I feel? Vindicated, relieved, satisfied. Free, I say finally. I feel free. Good. I can hear his smile through the phone. That's all I wanted for you. Freedom. I wish you could have testified. Could have had your moment. My moment was watching you become the woman you are. My moment was giving you the tools to fight. My moment is knowing that when I go, my legacy goes to someone worthy. He coughs. Besides, this is better. You won without needing an old man's defense. You won on the strength of truth alone. I couldn't have done it without you. You could have. It just would have taken longer. The public response to the admission is overwhelming. Social media erupts. News outlets run the story for days. Think pieces about adoption, trust fund management, accountability. My story becomes a catalyst for conversations about exploitation, about family, about justice. And through it all, I remain quiet. Let the admission speak. Let the truth echo. The DA decides to pursue charges, independent of my cooperation. Joel and Linda face felony embezzlement charges. Given the admission, their lawyers advise a plea deal. They'll likely get probation, community service, financial penalties. No prison time, but their reputations are destroyed, their finances decimated, their family fractured. Sky reaches out once more, brief text. Thank you for the mercy you showed, more than we deserved. I don't respond. Some things don't need response. Damon remains in treatment. I hear he's making progress. I hope it's true. I hope he finds peace, even if I can't give it to him. And me? I begin building. The Lena Brooks Foundation launches on a Tuesday morning in April. I chose Tuesday because it's ordinary. Not Monday with its fresh start energy, not Friday with its weekend anticipation. Tuesday, the most unremarkable day of the week. Because what I'm building isn't about flash or spectacle. It's about steady, consistent help for people who need it. The office is in downtown Miami, in a building that's nice but not extravagant. I could afford lavish after the inheritance. Elias's estate has now officially transferred to me, all $2.8 billion of it. But that's not what this is about. The space is bright, open, designed for work rather than impression. On one wall hangs a framed photo I found in Elias's house. My grandmother Eleanor, young and fierce-eyed, standing in front of a building she helped establish for war veterans. Below it, a small plaque reads, "Legacy is what we leave behind for those who need it most." My staff of 12, hired based on expertise and passion rather than connections, gathers for our first official meeting. Good morning, everyone. I stand at the head of the table, still unused to being the one in charge. Welcome to the first day of doing something meaningful. They smile. Eager faces. Social workers, lawyers, financial advisors, educators. Each of them selected because they understand what it means to struggle, to be overlooked, to need help that doesn't come. Our mission is simple. I continue. We Find, foster, and adopted youth who are falling through the cracks, and we catch them. We provide scholarships for those told they can't afford education. We provide legal aid for those whose trusts were mismanaged. We provide mentorship for those who have no one. We provide emergency funds for those aging out of the system with nothing. I look at each face. We don't do this for credit. We don't do this for headlines. We do this because we know, and here my voice catches slightly. We know what it's like to be told you don't deserve more. We know what it's like to work twice as hard for half the respect. We know what it's like to have no safety net. A social worker named Maria speaks up. Lena, can I just say, your story, what you went through, it's given so many of us hope. I've worked with foster kids for 15 years. I've seen so many fall through exactly the cracks you're describing. The fact that you're using your settlement and your inheritance for this. She shakes her head. It matters. It really matters. I nod, not trusting my voice. So let's get to work, I finally say. Our first round of scholarships opens next month. Our legal aid program starts in June. Our mentorship network is already matching youth with professionals. We have a lot to do and not nearly enough time. I smile. But that's kind of the point, isn't it? There's always not enough time when you're doing something worthwhile. The meeting continues. Logistics, plans, budgets. The beautiful machinery of purpose. That evening, I drive to Coconut Grove. Elias is home now, recovered enough to leave the hospital, but still fragile. The heart attack took something from him. Not his sharpness, but his certainty of time. He moves more carefully now, as if aware of each remaining moment's preciousness. Marcus lets me in. He's in the study. Been asking when you'd come. The study is warm, fire crackling despite the Miami evening. Elias sits in his favorite chair, surrounded by books and memories. The foundation launched today, I say, sitting across from him. I know. I saw the announcement. Very dignified. Very you. He sips tea. How does it feel? Like beginning. Good answer. He sets down his cup. Lena, I need to talk to you about something. What is it? The doctors say my heart is weaker than they thought. Another episode and... He trails off, but the meaning is clear. I feel my own heart clench. Grandfather, let me finish. His voice is gentle but firm. I've lived 84 good years. Made mistakes, yes, but also built something. And now I see that something, or what matters of it, continuing through you. That brings me peace. I don't want your peace. I want more time with you. We don't always get what we want. You know that better than anyone. He reaches across and takes my hand. But we do get to choose what we do with what we have. You've chosen magnificently, Lena. My tears fall freely. You saved me. No, you saved yourself. I just reminded you that you could. He squeezes my hand. The foundation, the scholarships, the legal aid, this is your legacy now, not just mine. Yours, built from your pain, yes, but transmuted into something beautiful. That's alchemy, child. That's magic. I wanted you to see it grow. I've seen enough. I've seen you grow. That was always the point. His eyes glisten too. Now, tell me about your day. Tell me about the work. Let me hear about hope while I still can. So I do. I tell him about Maria. and her 15 years of social work, about our first scholarship applications already flooding in, about the foster youth who emailed me personally, thanking me for seeing them. He listens with full attention, asking questions, offering insights. His mind still sharp, still engaged, still fighting. When I leave that night, I hug him longer than usual. I love you, grandfather. I love you, granddaughter. More than words can hold. He cups my face. Now go change the world. I'll be watching. Always. 3 weeks later, on a quiet Sunday morning, Elias Warren dies peacefully in his sleep. Marcus finds him, book open on his chest, slight smile on his face. No struggle, no pain, just gentle departure. The service is small, his request. Just close friends, some business associates, and me. I give the eulogy. Elias Warren was many things, I begin, standing before his casket. Businessman, philanthropist, father, grandfather. I pause. But to me, he was something simpler and more profound. He was the person who saw me when everyone else looked through me. I tell stories. The time he knelt down when I was 7 and told me I saw the world clearly. The time he slipped me $20 when no one was looking because he knew I had nothing. The time he spent an entire Christmas dinner engaging me in conversation while his own grandchildren ignored me. Elias taught me that family isn't blood, it's choice. It's showing up. It's seeing someone's potential and nurturing it, especially when no one else will. My voice steadies. 3 years ago, he made a choice that changed my life. He chose to see injustice and correct it. He chose to risk his family's anger to do what was right. He chose me, an adopted girl told she didn't belong and said, "You belong here, you always did." I look at his casket. Grandfather, you worried you waited too long, that you should have acted sooner. But I want you to know you acted exactly when you were meant to. You gave me not just inheritance, but permission. Permission to claim my worth. Permission to demand justice. Permission to build something beautiful from something painful. Tears stream down my face, but my voice remains strong. Your legacy isn't just the money you left me. It's the courage you modeled. It's the truth you championed. It's the reminder that it's never too late to do what's right. I touch his casket gently. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for fighting for me. Thank you for loving me when love felt impossible to find. I step back. Others speak. Stories shared. A life celebrated. And when it's over, when everyone has left, and I'm alone with him one final time, I whisper what I've wanted to say since he first showed me that folder in the restaurant. You saved me, old man, and I promise to be worth the saving. 6 months later, the Brooks Foundation has awarded 47 full scholarships. Our legal aid program has taken on 23 cases of trust fund mismanagement. Our mentorship network has connected 156 foster youth with professionals in their fields of interest. I sit in my office, now decorated with photos and mementos. My mother's locket around my neck. A photo of Elias on my desk. My foundation notes, those first scribbled ideas, framed on the wall. There's a knock at the door. Maria pokes her head in. "Lena, someone here to see you." A young girl enters. Maybe 13, brown eyes. scared expression, worn clothes that don't quite fit. She looks like me, 22 years ago. Hi, I say gently. I'm Lena. What's your name? Jamie. Her voice is small. Maria tells me you're interested in our scholarship program, Sally. Jamie nods. My foster mom said I should come. Said you help kids like me. I do, or I try to. I gesture to the chair across from my desk. Sit down, Jamie. Tell me about yourself. She sits, still guarded. What do you want to know? Whatever you want to share. Slowly, tentatively, she talks. About her foster placements. About her love of science. About her dream of becoming a marine biologist. About being told she's too poor, too difficult, too damaged. I listen the way Elias once listened to me. With full attention. With respect. With seeing. When she finishes, I lean forward. Jamie, can I tell you something? She nods. 20 years ago, I was you. Worn clothes, no money, no one who believed in me. People told me to be realistic about my situation. Told me I should be grateful for scraps. Told me I didn't deserve to dream big. Her eyes widen slightly. They were wrong, all of them. And anyone telling you those things is wrong too. I slide a scholarship application across the desk. You can be a marine biologist. You can be anything. Your circumstances don't define your potential. Your worth isn't determined by your bank account. And your dreams aren't too big. The people around you are just too small. Jamie stares at the application. The scholarship is yours if you want it, full ride, we'll cover college, living expenses, books, everything. And we'll be here, mentoring, supporting, cheering, every step of the way. She looks up, tears in her eyes. Why? Why would you do this for someone you just met? I think about Elias, about the folder, about the restaurant where I paid the bill with quiet dignity. Because someone did it for me once, and it changed everything. I smile. Real family shows up, Jamie. Real family protects. And real family never makes you pay for your place at the table. She takes the application with shaking hands. Thank you, she whispers. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you're saving the oceans. She leaves, application clutched to her chest like a lifeline. I watch her go, remembering. 27 years old. Adopted at 5. Designer. Survivor. Philanthropist. And now, maybe, a hope giver. That night, I drive to Coconut Grove one final time. Elias's house is mine now. I've kept it exactly as he left it. The art on the walls, the books in the study, the banyan trees whispering in the yard. Everything preserved as memorial. I walk through rooms filled with memory. The kitchen where he made tea. The dining room where we planned. The study where he told me about Eleanor and legacy and doing what's right. I end on the patio, looking out at the bay. The same view he loved. Water stretching to horizon. Possibilities endless as the sea. Hey, grandfather, I say to the night air. Awarded another scholarship today. Foster kid. Smart. Scared. Going to be a marine biologist if we do this right. The breeze stirs. I imagine it's him, listening. The foundation is growing. More than I imagined. More than you probably imagined too. But that's okay. We build what we can and hope it multiplies. I sip wine from his favorite glass. Oh, and the family, Joel and Linda, finished their community service. They're quiet now. Sky moved to California, says she's finding herself. Damon is still in treatment. Making progress, they say. I pause. I hope he finds peace. I hope they all do, eventually. Not for them. For me. Because carrying anger is heavy, and I've carried enough weight. The stars emerge one by one, the sky darkening to velvet. I miss you every day. Miss your wisdom, your humor, your unwavering belief in me. My voice thickens, but I feel you too. In every scholarship awarded, in every kid's eyes when they realize someone sees them, in every moment where truth wins over lies. I finish my wine. Thank you for seeing me, grandfather. Thank you for the inheritance, not the money, though that helps, but the inheritance of courage, of justice, of love that demands action. I stand, looking at the sky. I'll make you proud, I promise. Every day I'll make you proud. The breeze stirs again, warmer this time, like an embrace. I drive home through Miami's night streets, past buildings that shimmer with wealth, past neighborhoods that struggle with poverty, past all the spaces in between where life happens. My apartment, I've kept it, haven't upgraded despite the billions, is quiet when I enter, familiar, home. I sit at my table and open my laptop, emails to answer, applications to review, lives to change. But first, I open a new document, begin to write. My name is Lena Brooks. I'm 28 years old, adopted at 5, designer, philanthropist, survivor. This is the story of how truth set me free. And how I decided to use that freedom. The foundation continues to grow. Years pass, scholarships number in the hundreds, then thousands. Legal aid cases set precedents. Mentorship networks span continents. I never forgot where I came from. Never forgot the spare room, the hand-me-downs, the hollow ache of being less than. But I transmuted that pain into purpose, those scars into scholarships, that loneliness into legacy. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder what my biological parents would think, the ones who left me that trust fund, hoping to secure my future. I hope they'd be proud. I hope they'd see that their investment, though stolen, though misused, though grieved, eventually found its way home. Not to me, but through me, to thousands of others. And Elias? I see him in every sunrise, in every student's graduation photo that arrives at the foundation, in every legal victory for foster youth, in every moment where quiet dignity wins over loud cruelty. His portrait hangs in the foundation's main hall. Underneath, his favorite quote, "Legacy is what we leave behind for those who need it most." Below that, I added my own, "Real family shows up, real family protects, and real family never makes you pay for your place at the table." In the end, they were right about one thing. An adopted girl like me didn't belong there. I belonged somewhere better. I belonged here, building, healing, hoping, free. Every child deserves to know their worth. Every trust fund deserves protection. Every family should be defined by love, not blood. If Lena's story resonated with you, consider supporting foster and adoption advocacy organizations. Consider believing in the kids who have no one believing in them. Consider being someone's Elias, because real family shows up, and everyone deserves a seat at the table.